Welcome to Kansas City. This is going to be the best weather day of the next two. It is windy, it is overcast, but the Sox will take just about anything right now after one of the best opening days that we've seen in White Sox history. Jason Benetti along with you. Steve Stone will be here in a moment to talk about a pitching performance for James Shields yesterday that was very strong, but the offense was dynamic. Sox go down 4-0, come storming back with 14 consecutive runs, including 6 homers, 2 multi-home run performances, and an opening victory to remember and to savor. So the Sox go for the series win today. It is Lucas Giolito, the 23-year-old on the mound. He will face Ian Kennedy. A lot to tell you about here on our pregame show. The fountains are going, the waterfalls are ready, but the Sox are trying to finish off the Royals in the series today. We'll tell you about James Shields after this.
The Ford Warm-Up Show is brought to you by Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. And by Danley's. When you think of garages, think Danley's.
Here from Kauffman Stadium. Jason Benetti joined now by my broadcast partner Steve Stone and his Young Award along with us as always. Steve, just Thursday, James Shields gives up 4 runs, first 4 batters, and then nothing else after that. How did it happen?
If he was a young pitcher, he would have been knocked out in the second. But James Shields has been around a long time. When you start 8 opening days, you know how to do it. So he's touched up early and then realized that he's got to go right at the hitters. If he does that and gets ahead, he's going to get them out. 1 hit after the first 4 hitters of the game. He was absolutely brilliant. He held them through 6. His teammates came back and got him a big 14, and James Shields wins his first game of this year. The first of many more, I believe, this season.
You saw what he just did pointing at Wellington Castillo. I was talking to him a little bit about before the game what he said there, and he said because of that 35 pitches in the first inning, I wanted to go like 2 pitches or less to everybody after that.
Well, he realized it was going to be a short day, and when the starting pitcher exits early, what happens is you tax the bullpen. The more you do that, the worse it gets as you head toward the middle of the season. James knows that he had to get people out. He had to get them, as it turned out, to only 9 outs left. The bullpen handled the 9, was a relatively easy win, and James Shields, the leader of this staff, led the way, and the offense certainly helped him out.
I was going to say, on the offense, why don't we, well, let's not do it now. Let's do it after the break, show all the home runs.
Is this anything that happened in 1908? Could that be?
Oh, no. Well, that's on the pitching side. Certainly, we have home runs to show you, and we also have to tell you why 1908 is important to James Shields.
Sounds good.
What a tease that was, huh? A little rambly, but we got there. Sox and Royals coming up, first pitch. shortly.
Visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. And by Danley's. When you think of garages, think Danley's.
We're wrapping up our Ford warm-up show from here in Kansas City. Jason Benetti back with you. First pitch just around the corner. And we told you before the break about why 1908 is important to James Shields because of his performance on Thursday. He is the first pitcher in 110 years to give up 4 runs in the first inning of his team's opener since Orville Overall of the Cubs in 1908 and still win the game. So James Shields and Orville Overall always tied together. Sox and Royals, Lucas Giolito, Ian Kennedy coming up. Kansas City, Missouri, the site of one of the best opening days in White Sox history, and you may have seen it on Thursday. The Sox with a furious comeback to move to 1-0, trying to win the series in windy KC this Saturday evening. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Sox with 6 home runs on opening day, tying a major league record set by the 1988 Mets. It looked despairing, down 4-0, but the Sox came storming back.
You know, the Sox hit in spring training, but everybody said, including me, well, it's spring training. The rock-hard infields, the high sky, the light air. But they came here north, and all of a sudden the bats came with them, and they set a lot of records. Jose Abreu taking one out. Matt Davidson taking his first of 3. Then it was Tim Anderson, his first of 2. Then it's Matt Davidson, his second of 3, and Tim Anderson, his second of 2. What a day it was overall as Matt Davidson takes one out of the ballpark, a laser-like home run. He hit him consistently over 114 miles an hour exit velocity. That is one strong young man.
We'll tell you in a little while exactly why those exit velocities were so important for Matt Davidson. But first, the pitching matchup shows Lucas Giolito on the mound for the Sox.
Lucas Giolito made the ball break in Arizona, which is a pretty good trick, and yet he showed you the curveball and the slider were exceptional. Take a look at this one. Just falls out of the sky, biting down and in. Another one right where it should be. And Lucas, who came on strong the end of last year, certainly showed in spring training. He's ready to be here. He's going to have a big year, and the offense probably is going to support him.
Well, Ian Kennedy on the other side.
Ian Kennedy doesn't keep the ball in the ballpark. Last year, 34 home runs given up, and the Sox got him for a few. This is a guy that throws high fastballs. His breaking ball isn't what it was when he had that Cy Young Award year. But the Sox are hitting the ball out of the park. Ian Kennedy, the perfect matchup for this offense. I like the offense today. I like Lucas Giolito. 2-0 Sox.
Well, we got new Sox. We got new graphics. And we're ready to go. Sox and Royals, game number 2 of this series, underway shortly.
White Sox baseball is brought to you by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers. Test drive a Hyundai today. Xfinity has the largest gig speed network, serving more homes than anyone else. Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Choose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, the card to carry through it all. Wintrust, home of Sox checking and debit cards. Open an account today at wintrust.com/Sox. And by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Audi dealers. Visit AudiOffers.com for exceptional offers on select Audi models.
Internet and best in-home Wi-Fi experience. Call or visit an Xfinity store today. How will the Sox build on? Tied for their best comeback win in opening day history. We'll find out with the very same lineup as we saw in yesterday's game, Thursday's game. That is the opener. Same lineup, Moncada, Garcia, Abreu, then Matt Davidson with his 3 home runs, the 4th player all time to do that. Delmonico, Castillo, Anderson, Sanchez, and Engel. Same lineup for Ricky Renteria. It worked so well the first time. Why change it? 14 runs, 14 hits on Thursday. And Yoan Moncada back in the leadoff spot for the 2nd time in his career. He takes high, and we are underway.
Ian Kennedy is a high fastball pitcher. That's why he gave up 34 home runs last year. You have to go back to 2011. He was 21-4 with the Diamondbacks. These days, he's not overpowering. He's got to keep it down.
He does there for a strike called by our plate umpire Dan Iasonia today. 33-year-old right-hander, former first-round pick Ian Kennedy. Up 2-1.
Two of the fastballs have been high. One has been belt high. So this is a guy going to give up a lot of fly balls. The wind is blowing to the right field corner. It's very cold. It's going to get colder. Snow on the way, but not here yet. 45 degrees at game time.
Got a swing on the high fastball from Moncada, who was 1 for 6 in the opener, including an RBI double in the 4th. That was one of the big innings for the Sox in that game with 5 runs. And you see, you talk about the high fastball. Look at where the sequence is gone.
4 or 5 have been up there, and if there looks like a different man behind the plate, it's because Drew Butera is back there. Salvi Perez lost for the better part of 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury. They're going to really miss him. He's one of the guys that they could ill afford to lose at all.
Well, Ian Kennedy throws cutter, curveball, changeup, but we have seen all fastballs so far.
He used to have a curveball. He ditched it really and going to some changes and a high fastball.
Check swing by Moncada, and he is on with a leadoff walk here in the 1st.
Let's take a look at the Royals defense and how your host Ned Yost is going to throw them out there tonight. It's Gordon, Orlando, and Jay in the outfield with Moustakas, Escobar, Merrifield, and Duda in the infield. Butera behind the plate and the aforementioned Ian Kennedy on the hill. Good sign, a leadoff walk. Kennedy doing what he always does, keeping the ball up. When it's up and out of the zone, don't go after it. He'll come to you when he does. A lot of fly balls in the outfield, very deep all the way around as you look at Avi,
who last year led Major League Baseball in swing percentage, meaning Avi Garcia swung at more pitches than anyone else in America last season, and he turned it into an all-star year.
Talked to him about this year and talked to him about the 330 year last year, and that's when he really became a hitter. The question now, and I think what he's wondering too, is can he get a launch angle that allows his massive strength to get the ball out of the ballpark? Got to be careful because it's very difficult on the high fastball. If you use an uppercut swing, you're not going to catch up to it. If you do, you're going to fall it back. Let's take a look at last season. 5-13, the ERA well up over 5. You look at the innings, you look at the hits. You know, he was injured somewhat last year, so a whip of 132, 34 home runs allowed. That's the big number. And this is a team, as you saw all spring and you saw in the first game, this is a team can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but it's also a great mix of speed up and down that lineup.
Sox got him for 17 earned runs in 20 innings last year.
Well, now you have to lay off the high fastball because this is what Kennedy wants to do to you. He wants to get you 0-2, 1-2, and then throw you that tantalizing face-high fastball. It's called higher than high. Most pitchers are using it around the major leagues. The fact that Kennedy throws a fastball up most of the time takes away some of that effectiveness because you're not changing the eye angle of the hitter.
Moncada at first with a walk. And Avi fouls it away. Join us April 5th to the 8th for opening weekend at Guaranteed Rate Field as the Sox take on division rival Detroit in the 2018 home debut. Some great promotions and giveaways all weekend long, and great seats are still available right now at whitesox.com. You can still get tickets for the opener. It's Thursday, April 5th, and then the remainder of the homestand against the Tigers first, and then Tampa Bay is in. Rays playing the Red Sox this weekend.
There went that high fastball. Avi laid off. Pitch before, he tried to get him out middle out, and with the right side completely vacant, with Merrifield up the middle on the third base side of second, the entire right side completely exposed, you take that ball there. It's a base hit. Moncada at third.
Elevated fastball away. That's a fairly easy pitch for Avi to go the other way with.
Well, now it appears he's going to throw a slider, so let's see where Butera sets up. Probably away, I would guess.
That was downstairs. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
keep expecting that Moncada's going to run, but for Ricky, he's probably looking at the middle of the order. The Thunder coming up in Abreu, Davidson, and Delmonico. If anybody then gets on and the inning stays alive, it's Wellington Castillo. Middle of the order doing a big job in the opener, and we'll keep our eye on Moncada on this pitch and possibly the next if the bat is still alive.
Everything up and away from Avi, set up inside, and he sprays it foul.
That's where most people are going to go on Avi, and that's in on his hands, because last year he hit the ball up the middle a lot. He did hit the ball to the right side, but all things being equal, they would like to jam him. And that time Kennedy got inside, actually beat Avi on the fastball. Fortunately, he fouled it back.
We're talking about the swing percentage. Avi, what he did better last year was swing at balls in the zone. Todd Steverson had talked to him for a couple of years then about making sure that he doesn't let good pitches go by, and that's an adjustment he made last year. They have something called Z swing percentage, which is zone swing percentage, the percentage of pitches you see that are in the strike zone, and his number was significantly up to about 83.5% last year of balls in the zone that he swung at.
If you get more selective, you're going to be a better hitter, more contact, and the Royals know that because they were the perfect team in their heyday putting the ball in play. If you do that, good things happen. Last year Avi put it in play a lot. Moncada running it. Nope, he's not.
Avi the other way, just like we hoped. Moncada around second. He's easily on his way to third, and it's beautifully done by Avisail Garcia to put runners at the corners.
That radical shift is good if you intend on a slow breaking ball, or you've decided that you're going to throw the inside fastball. But if you keep on going away to these pretty good hitters, and that was low and away with a slider, Avi just reached out, good coverage. If you don't keep your head right down on that pitch, if you pull out, then most likely you either miss it or you might ground out to shortstop, and maybe there's two. Avi stayed right with it. First and third, nobody out. Setting up a very big inning.
Sox have had some of those already this season, with 5 in the 4th on Thursday, 3 in the 5th, 7th, and 8th. This team's going to score some runs.
There is no doubt about it, and the pitching staff is going to be very happy if they don't walk a whole lot of people.
Strike one to Abreu on the inside corner. So Jose, who hit that 2-run homer to start the offensive outburst in the 4th inning on Thursday, he provided the first runs.
Gordon back in his usual position in left field, where he's won a number of Gold Gloves. Jay is in right field, does not have a right fielder's arm. They're going to run on Jay if they get a chance. Orlando, well, he's no Lorenzo Cain, but he's got big speed.
Jose Abreu, you talk about guys who hit the ball hard. 95 miles an hour plus last year. This is overall balls hit 95 plus last season. Abreu was number 2 at 230 in Major League Baseball.
And it goes hand in hand with Kennedy, who there's a new stat called barrels, and Kennedy had 51 of them. Major League's lead was 52. So a lot of guys squared it up on Ian Kennedy last year.
You hear guys talk about barreling up the ball. That's what that refers to, and it's a combination of exit velocity and launch angle, basically a sweet spot that suggests you're going to get hurt pretty bad.
I think it's a good spot. I mean, it's a good stat because barrels shows you just how effective your pitcher is, but also it shows you hitters and the deception that he has. He's got to really hit his spots to be successful. And do you like the way I rolled out that barrel graphic?
Yeah, we're going to have a barrel of fun tonight. Moncada at third, Garcia at first. And Abreu lines one hard to second base to Merrifield for out number 1. Abreu ripped that ball to second base. We just showed you how many hard hit balls he had last year.
This is a double play if Merrifield handles it cleanly. Take a look at it. Watch it roll up his glove. If he catches it cleanly, he doubles Avi at first base. He doesn't, the inning goes on with only 1 out and runners at the corners.
And to the point of balls hit hard, that was 105 miles an hour off Abreu's bat. So now the guy, Matt Davidson, who powered out 3 homers in the opener, and it's not shocking he doesn't see a fastball first.
Well, here's the dilemma, and that is you got a high fastball pitcher. You're in need of a ground ball to get out of the inning. So we'll see if Kennedy goes to his strength or if he goes to his weakness, actually, which is keeping the ball down. That was a good breaking ball, although it was up, as you can see, on the first pitch.
Like a little bit of a slider from Kennedy there. So 1-1. Davidson, those 3 balls he homered on Thursday, all 113 miles an hour or greater. They were the 3 hardest hit balls of his career in one game.
They actually went out like lasers.
Isn't it amazing after one day the different way the Royals are pitching Matt Davidson?
You have to. When a guy torches you like that, you got to make an adjustment, and what they saw was everything going out of the park in literally a blink of an eye. Figures Kennedy, who's been around for a while, is trying to adjust, but Matt, who swung it very well in the spring, just has carried it over.
Moncada at third, Garcia at first, and a called strike to Davidson, who didn't like it very much.
It had the corner. I mean, it was a pretty good pitch. And when the catcher sets up out there, then you throw it to his glove. More times than not, you're going to get the benefit of the call. And Dan Iasonia thought it was good enough. Pretty well framed on that pitch.
High fastball fouled away, so still 2-2. So Matt Davidson, the 3 home runs on opening day. He's the 4th guy ever to do it. George Bell was first. Tuffy Rhodes, you were there back in 1994. And then Dimitri Young, the other 3.
What I love is the fact that I've been able to see 2 of them.
No,
and that was against Dwight Gooden, by the way, who pledged at that point that the Cubs would never beat him again. I think he went 24-5, something like that, against the Cubs. It was because of Tuffy Rhodes, and we disliked Tuffy from that time because he could never beat Dwight Gooden. No, Tuffy was a wonderful man who went on to have a career where he hit somewhat more than 3 home runs.
Well, he became a massive presence in the Far East. He went overseas and hit a bunch of home runs. He just didn't do it in Major League Baseball.
Those were the days, really, where if things didn't work out for you in the major leagues, you could go to Japan and get a very comfortable payday and enjoy a different type of baseball. I remember a teammate of mine told me that he ran over the catcher and his own team wanted to fight him. He said that's what it was like.
This is going to be pitch number 25 of the inning for Ian Kennedy already.
Got to come away with some runs in this inning. It was too promising. This is a big at bat for Matt and the ball club.
Not close. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nicky's next.
Nice pick by Butera, who historically has been a very good catch it, call it, throw it, and block it guy. Probably the equal, maybe a little bit better in some respects than Salvi Perez, but doesn't swing the potent bat that Salvi does. But Butera seems to find his hits against the Sox. He's done very well offensively against them. This looked like another slider, so look outside, Matt E., and you got him.
3-2. Line to right field. Davidson continues to pound the baseball, and the Sox take the first lead in game 2.
RBI number 6. Matt Davidson is on fire. The leadoff walk costs Kennedy. The Sox are starting early. Slider away. Right there. Head down on the ball. Short, quick swing. Great finish. You see it right in front of his chest, a la Paul Konerko. That's Mike Gellinger. And that's Paul Konerko. And that's Todd Severson. All working with Matty D to get him to be able to do what he did there. So besides the 3 home runs, he can hit to right field.
Went up to him before the game and told him about the fact that he was one of 4 guys ever on opening day to hit 3 home runs. And he said that was Thursday.
It's a good attitude. Which
is a little extra humble for a 3 home run performance to open the season. Nikki Delmonico takes ball 1, and we were talking about it, how important it was for him to have good quality plate appearances against left-handers, and he showed it with a couple of walks in the opener.
Not only a couple of walks, the middle at bat was a line drive to center field. I talked to him last night about that. He was very happy about the 3 at bats. He saw the ball well, and he made Kansas City pay. You start taking walks in front of these bangers in the middle of his lineup, or to a certain extent, I mean, he's got Castillo, he's got Anderson behind him, and this lineup just gets deeper. The more they get production at the bottom part of the order, the deeper the lineup gets.
Ball and 2 strikes on Delmonico. You know, it's interesting. You get 14 hits in the opener. Only one of them came from Moncada at the top of the order. And Wellington Castillo went over in the game. And you have to imagine his production, based on the numbers historically, is going to be there this year.
You look up and down this lineup, there are very few soft spots, especially now with Adam Engel hitting everything in sight. He's number 9. You roll over to Moncada. You got big speed at 9-1.
That's a check swing foul ball. So now 30 pitches from Kennedy. James Shields threw 35 times in the opener, came back, pitched very well. Kennedy is really having trouble on 2 strikes getting rid of Sox hitters.
He's not a big fastball pitcher. He's not a guy who will fool you with a great change or a big breaking curveball. He's a guy now that, after going 21-4 in 2011, now is trying to find his way, and Kansas City's hoping that that large contract that he has will be substantiated by a big year.
Off the plate with a breaking ball.
Well, that's what he had early in his career. He had a pretty good curveball. Then he kind of went away from it. Now he's trying to throw it once again.
It's not a sharp breaking ball.
Well, I explained to you why it's difficult here, but we'll wait for this pitch.
That was a good breaking ball.
That was a great checkup by Nikki, because it takes very strong hands. Once you start, you have very strong hands and wrists. You can check it up as he did. If you don't, you're going to swing at this. Good curveball. He checks it up. Nice stop by Butera. Curveball is a rotation, not a velocity pitch, and it's hard in the cold weather with the low seams of a ball today. It's hard to make it spin quite as fast as normal. Unless you have a great curve, and Kennedy doesn't, you have a tendency to hang a few, and they go a long way.
Fastball popped up by Delmonico, third base side, and Moustakas for out number 2. They love Bullwinkle here.
There's no doubt they love him. They love Hosmer. Hosmer is in San Diego. Moustakas is here for 1 year. This should be a pretty good year for him, because you come back on 1 year, you don't get the money you want on a free agent market. So what happened was he was offered a qualifying offer at the end of last year. He did not take it. Came back, and it was right around $10 million difference between what they offered him and what he had to come back for only 1 year. He's hoping for the big year, cash in next year, but it's a deep free agent market after this season.
Yeah, there's one third baseman with similar initials that could be important.
You also, yeah, you got Machado, certainly, unless he's traded and likes where he's traded to. And if Baltimore falls out, you figure they're going to move Manny. You also have Bryce Harper. You also have, well, you've got a few of the guys that are really good players that are out on the market, and it's going to be really interesting to see with guys like Moustakas, who came back for 1 year to their various clubs, if they're able to cash in next year where they didn't cash in this year.
See if the Sox can polish off a couple more runs here in the first inning against Kennedy. This is pitch number 35. Davidson at first, Garcia at third, and there's strike 2.
That went a little out of the strike zone. And if, look, our hitters, if Dan Iasonia calls them up there, they're going to have to go get them. But that's going to force another swing up and out of the strike zone. He's 0-2, and unfortunately, you look at where 2 is. That one's considerably out of the zone. We'll see where Kennedy goes.
That's there for strike 3. Kennedy wriggles out of the jam. Sox get a run, but that's all. And Lucas Giolito to the hill after this. 4 spot, who had the home run in Thursday's game. I'm going to figure that out at some point. Cuthbert, Orlando, Gordon, Escobar, and Butera, the starting 9.
Let's take a look at the defense and how Ricky is going to send them out there. It's Nicky, Adam, and Abasail in the outfield. Then Yolmer, Tim, Yohan, and Jose in the infield, with Wellington behind the plate, minus an L, and Lucas Giolito on the hill. And the big right-hander had quite a year last year. 2.38 ERA in 7 starts. Batting average against at 190, a magnificent last 7 starts. He carried it over in the spring. No reason to assume he won't carry it over here.
Lucas Giolito, 23 years old, former first-round pick out of Harvard Westlake High School in California, against a man 10 years his elder, John Jay, with strike 1.
Lucas has a very good curveball. He cuts it. The changeup is getting better and better, and he can throw a lot harder than 91.
To left field and down. So Jay with a leadoff single. His base hit went to right yesterday to lead off the game for Kansas City.
John Jay is a good, solid player. He's been around. He came up with St. Louis, went to San Diego last year with the Cubs, where he hit .296. It was a good, solid year for him. But as a corner outfielder, if he's going to play there, he's got to produce a bit more offensively than he has in the past. That's one of the reasons why the Cubs decided that they would part ways. Only 2 home runs, only 34 runs batted in last year. This man can play coming to bat.
Whit Merrifield takes a ball there. 29 years old. He's out of South Carolina, former College World Series hero with the Gamecocks. And all he does is nag you.
Well, he's a very good hit and run man. This is a guy who can do it all for Ned Yost. If they need contact, Merrifield will get it. Probably looking at anywhere from 25, 26 home runs, and he gets hit with that one.
So Kansas City had the first 4 on and in the opener, and now the first 2 on here.
Castillo wants it away, and Lucas loses command of that one. It also goes off of Dan Iasonia. So it hits Castillo, gets Iasonia, and also hits Merrifield, and that's the most important one because it's first and second, nobody out.
For Mike Moustakas, who in the opening game drove in a run with a single to right. That scored Jay and had Kansas City on the board first.
Another pitch out of the zone, and Castillo at least is going to think about going out there. Remember, you get 6 trips to the mound, and it's a whole different world this year. You have to pick your trips judiciously. But when your starting pitcher is struggling and the command and the release point are not there, that's a good trip to the mound, and we're likely to see it.
Another breaking ball and another miss. Even if you don't go out there necessarily to say something, you just go out there to slow the game down a little bit, right?
I think you got to remind Lucas that, look, it is a pretty tough night to pitch. It's very cold, very windy, and the grip on the baseball isn't quite what you'd like.
Upstairs, 3-0. What are you feeling when it's cold like this?
That's not the problem. The problem is you're not feeling, because it is a touch and feel game, and when you can't feel your hands, when you don't have good command of the ball, really hard to throw it where you want to. And this is a tough night to pitch, a night where umpires will allow you to blow in your hand to make sure that you have some feeling.
Upstairs, ball 4. They're loaded with nobody out, and if you've seen this act before, it's because it happened on Thursday. Here comes the meeting at the mound, and we remind you that you can head to the park for the first $1 hot dog Wednesday of the season. It's April 11th as the Sox take on the Tampa Bay Rays, 1:10 p.m. Take advantage of this unbeatable deal as you cheer on the Sox all season long. $1 hot dog Wednesday. Get your tickets at whitesox.com today. All right, so there's your meeting at the mound, number 1 of the game for the Sox.
And you got a man who's a wonderful double play candidate. Duda's a dead pull hitter, always has been. Adam Engel, a little shallow in center field for a man with some big power, but hopefully you get the ground ball, concede the run, and get 2.
That's what Lucas is aiming for with a first ball low. Lucas Duda, former Met, former Tampa Bay Ray, 32 years old now. Power hitter out of Southern California. There is a strike off speed, 1-1.
There was a comfort pitch for Lucas. He feels very confident in that straight change. He got it over the middle of the plate. And a lot of pitchers will go to their comfort pitch when they're struggling with every other pitch they have. And that was a good time to make as good a pitch as he's made today.
So if you don't have the feel for the breaking ball, how do you get that ground ball? Is there a way that you can do that without a good feel for the curveball?
Usually try to, number 1, you shorten up your stride, because that'll get you on top of the ball and get you in the strike zone. When you can't get a feel, you shorten up the stride, you get over the top, and you throw strikes, but on a very cold night it becomes a little more difficult.
There's a strike on the inside corner, 2-2 on Duda, who is a strikeout candidate.
Normally, with the confidence that Lucas has, if he drops a curveball over the plate here, he makes a big pitch and gets a weakly hit ball if he hits it at all. We'll see what Wellington wants.
Yeah, breaking ball, but missed its spot by quite a bit. So 3-2.
Duda that time tried to lean into it and couldn't quite get it. He wanted to get hit, keep him loaded, and drive home a run, but the ball wasn't close enough. It almost got him.
Duda struck out in more than a quarter of his trips to the plate last year. So now 3-2. Giolito to Duda, and he missed low. Ball 4. Giolito walks in a run, and we're tied.
Two trips in the first inning as Don Cooper comes out. All Don is out there for is to settle him down, to let him take a breath. Every good pitching coach is parts of one thing or another. For Don Cooper, he's part mechanic. He's part psychologist. He's part father confessor. And he's got to go out there and use whatever tools he can to handle each of these guys individually to get the most out of them. And the great pitching coaches know exactly what button to push each and every time they go to the mound to get the best out of their pitcher. They're all different. It's not one size fits all, because if you try to do that, it's not going to work. Whatever he said to him, he's thinking about a ground ball, get 2, concede the run, just keep him from having the big inning.
This is speaking to a guy in Giolito who maybe had the best command of any of the Sox starters this spring training.
Average temperature 76 degrees in spring training. 45 and dropping here in Kansas City.
Chesler Cuthbert takes strike 1. That's a good sign.
Chesler is a good double play target. Merrifield can really run. Chesler not quite as quick. Gets a ground ball, turns into 2. You'll take it.
If you're Sanchez at third, you might be ready. Cuthbert, quite a few of his ground balls come to the left side of the infield. Now 1-1. A hit batter and 2 walks in the inning so far.
Cuthbert with a little pop, but not a big power candidate. Last year, just over 55 games, 2 home runs.
Engel in center field. Merrifield tags, and the throw doesn't come to the plate. So 2-1 Kansas City, and there's out number 1.
RBI number 2 for Chesler Cuthbert. Not hit hard. Adam Engel with no chance, but he did keep the runners at first and second. Cuthbert, by the way, one of the few Nicaraguans here I played with El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, another Nicaraguan, prompting our ball club, then the Baltimore Orioles, to go play an exhibition game in Nicaragua. The veterans went to New Orleans to play the Yankees. Everybody with a Latino background went to Nicaragua, which prompted a wonderful story, which I will get to in a second.
First, Orlando, the Brazilian, fouls it away.
Dennis Martinez went down there. Also, Tippy Martinez, our fine reliever, went down there. And after the game, the Spanish-speaking interviewer on Nicaraguan television gave Tippy this wonderfully insightful question. And Tippy says, "I don't know what you're saying because I'm from Pueblo, Colorado."
Yep. Orlando can run. Anderson and Moncada can turn it, and they do. 6-4-3, and the Royals only get a pair of runs after the first 4 reach.
Duncan, certainly my favorites. That toasted coconut is a dream.
Did you read that, or is that true?
Oh, that's an ad lib.
Really?
Oh, you talking about the donuts? No, love the donuts.
I didn't know. I've never seen you eat a donut.
Well, that's because I'm looking for someone to pay for it, and it's never you.
I'm very willing. Thank you for burying me. Strike one to Anderson. By the way, Tim Anderson, a couple of home runs in the opener. What did he do with his off day to celebrate? He took little Peyton to Disney on Ice. Super cute, right?
It's a good show.
You been there?
Oh, a number of times. I just can't remember the number.
I know you know all the words to Let It Go from Frozen, so if you could just do a little bit for us.
Yeah, that's no, I can't do it early in the game.
Can't hold it back anymore. Breaking ball to Anderson, and he flares it short to Merrifield. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your trusted teammate throughout the mortgage process. Experience the difference today at rate.com. Thanks to all of you joining us, maybe on your first screen or your second screen. I know some people, I've been seeing some tweets come in of 2 screens up, one watching the Ramblers, one watching us, so we certainly appreciate it. Sox traveling secretary and all-around good guy Ed Casson, I'm sure, is very interested, being a Loyola guy himself, in the Ramblers and Wolverines game.
And we have some folks on the other side of the equation, of course.
True.
I took a look at many of the accomplishments in Rick Hahn, our general manager's academic past. One stop was the blue.
Yeah, he is a Michigan man. This bunt caught. Moustakas charging in for round number 2.
Sox fans, check out the White Sox blog at WGNTV.com, presented by Nationwide's Jeff Vukovich. Go to jeffvuk.com or follow him on social media, because Nationwide is on your side. Met Jeff this spring, saw him at dinner. Very nice man, very large man. And I said, nice to see you, Jeff, and we do great promos for you, so don't chase me around the restaurant.
Was he planning to?
Well, he had that look in his eye.
Ooh, Butera just got rung up by Engel.
They have the same shift that they had on Adam Engel the opening game. And Adam Engel all spring was hitting the ball to the right side, also picked up a base hit in the opener to the right side, and as you can see, plenty of room on the right side.
And then he pitches him away with a fastball.
Well, if he was normally just a dead pull hitter, I'm talking about, some of the great pull hitters in our league and in history, then I could see that, but Adam is not that kind of pull hitter.
Engel 2 for 3. You mentioned that base hit to right. He had a double to left. He also walked a couple of times. So on base 4 times in 5 tries for Engel.
And Kennedy now going right at the hitters, a la James Shields, who suddenly started getting people out consistently after being shocked in the first inning for 4. He got more aggressive. He wanted to get ahead early. He did. And it turned into gold for the leader of this staff. The man who threw in his 8th opening day start a couple of days ago.
Engel goes after the breaking ball, and Butera completes the out. So strikeouts to end each inning for Kennedy, who's up 2-1.
And click on the Game Zone banner for the latest stats and information. University of Illinois Health, from comprehensive stroke care to a world-class transplant team. UI Health, care is changing medicine for good. Visit uihealth.com.
Lucas Giolito trying to bounce back from a lengthy first inning. 2 walks, a plunking, and a single for John Jay. Sacrifice fly for Chesler Cuthbert, and the Royals lead 2-1. That's foul and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, our entire crew here in Kansas City. Day 3 of the season, game 2 for the Sox. Some notable headlines already from Major League Baseball, including a 5-hit day for Adam Eaton for Washington, and the team that the Sox will see next, the Blue Jays, got a straight steal of home from Kevin Pillar.
These days, you hardly ever see that.
Blue Jays were run challenged in the first 2 games that they played, just 3 total runs against the Yankees, but they did salvage game 3 today, 5-3.
Lucas wants to do exactly what Kennedy did. He had a lot of pitches in the first inning. He wants to go right at these hitters, get ahead. Ian Kennedy was able to do it in the Sox second. Giolito trying to do it here in the Royals second.
Breaking ball missed in, 2-2.
What made Lucas very good last year and very good this spring was his ability anytime he wanted and either side of the plate to throw that curveball over the plate. So far, it hasn't just come to him yet, so you would expect that he will when he starts feeling much more comfortable and much looser on a very cold and very windy night.
That's a fastball for strike 3 and 1 away.
Gordon looking for the curveball. He gets the express. It freezes him, and that is strikeout number 1.
I was watching the Mets and Cardinals before the game, and Anthony Swarzak threw a very similar pitch. I mean, it was a pipe shot fastball, and you know, Gary and Ron and Keith were like, what's he looking for? And the answer is not the fastball. Our old friend Anthony Swarzak, by the way. Evidently, this is the White Sox alumni inning. We got an Adam Eaton update and a Swarzak mention.
Well, we know, and everybody in baseball knows, when Adam Eaton is healthy, he is a force in the lineup. And Mike Rizzo, who runs that ball club, wants a healthy Adam Eaton because the price tag was gigantic to get him.
In part, the price tag is on the mound right now for the Sox.
Along with Dane Dunning and Ronaldo Lopez and Lucas Giolito. 3 potential starting pitchers in the major leagues, and with all due respect to Adam Eaton, it probably will turn out to be a pretty good trade for the Sox.
Especially with the value of an arm these days, as Giolito is ready for the comebacker. Sorta. 2 down.
When you fall off the mound to the first base side, as right-handers frequently do, you have to be ready for the ball to come back to you because you pretty much have vacated your spot. That time he got the glove up right in front of him, and then he was able to make the play easily. Watch him fall off to the left. He gets a glove up for self-preservation and turns into a very easy out. So a minimum of pitches through 2 outs and the bottom part of the order now in Butera.
He's from a thespian family. Lucas there acted like he was prepared for the ball to be hit back to him.
Fortunately, it stuck right in the glove and not in his jaw.
With 2 down, Butera with a high pop-up. Abreu, foul ground is there. And that's exactly what the Sox wanted. It's what James Shields gave him yesterday. Quick inning, right back to the bat rack and the top of the order after this.
Subway to 97999, and the 300th texter will win a $30 gift card to Subway. So much sandwich.
So much sandwich.
I love the meatball sandwich. I got to tell you that. I know that surprises you.
Well, from inning to inning, we're learning more about your diet. So the coconut donut.
Yes.
The meatball sandwich from Subway.
Toasted coconut donut. I misspoke. I like the toasted as opposed to the coconut. I don't have anything against coconut. I prefer them toasted.
No, I think that's what you said. I just left off the toasted part.
Oh, then you.
I think a libel suit's coming.
Hold on.
Somehow. Did I write it down?
Let me call Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny, and I think he's going to clean your clock.
Who are your favorite two Utes? Keith Van Horn, Jakob Pertl. Moncada swings at strike two. Yohan walked in the first and scored the only Sox run. Moncada gets a good piece of this one, but not enough to center field and Orlando for out number one.
Pretty much anything from left of center on to the left field line going to be hard, especially for a left-hander to hit out of this ballpark, because the wind is stout tonight. As big a wind as we've seen in Kansas City, and we've been here seemingly since the dinosaurs roamed the earth. This is the longest stand I have ever seen. Ball's not going to travel to left or left center.
This is the anniversary of the debut of Oklahoma, the musical.
Yes.
That's where the wind blows typically. It's empirical evidence.
I was a big Paint Your Wagon fan.
Avi fouls it away. No balls and a strike. We were talking about Abreu hitting the ball hard earlier. He and Avi Garcia had the highest average bat to ball number in terms of exit velocity last year on the Sox.
Pretty impressive for Matt Davidson, Yohan Moncada. Those are 4 very strong average exit velocities.
And we talked about it some last year. You can pull up on your computer if you care to the differences between probable batting average, slugging percentage, etc. with exit velocity. You even at 5 miles an hour, there's a substantial jump in your likelihood of getting a hit or an extra base. Avi hits this ball in the air to center field, and Orlando zigzags into the spot for out number 2.
That ball coming off the bat actually moved left to start with and then went right. And I'm talking left to Avi's left and right to Avi's right. The wind affected it, and sometimes if you hit the ball hard enough, it goes out like a knuckleball. See if we can pick it up. Avi hits it on the button. Starts out way left, and all of a sudden you see Orlando drifting backwards. That's a product of the wind, and sometimes where you're squared up on the baseball, and that time it went out like a knuckleball. The wind affected it. Orlando stayed right with it.
It's not a great tee shot, being honest.
No. But effective for Orlando.
Jose takes ball 1. Each team with the runs in the first inning. Sox got 1 in the top of the first. Kansas City got both of its runs in the home first.
The Kennedy curveball has really come alive here in the last couple of innings. I mean, that was the best he's thrown. Watch how it's received by Butera. Watch the glove come up. Takes a low pitch and brings it up, but tries to do it seamlessly. Just all you need is a tilt of the wrist.
You're trying to avoid showing the umpire that you moved the ball.
Right. And talking with Rick Dempsey, who was my catcher in Baltimore, he used to practice in the bullpen on side sessions. He would practice receiving the ball and just moving his wrist to the left and the right. He never moved he never jerked the glove one way or another because he was trying to buy strikes. Convince the umpire it was a better pitch than it was. Dempsey was a master.
Now Kennedy, there he uses the fastball up in the zone. The way it comes out of his hand, it almost looks like it explodes up, has sort of a rising tendency out of his hand.
Well, that's backspin, and now that they're doing spin rates, what you want to do is rotate the ball backwards. That's what makes it appear to be hopping, although it's really not. It's just less of a decline, as the scientists and the sabermetricians would tell you.
Ball's clobbered down the right field line by Abreu, and it clings off the wall foul. There's a good story in the New York Times today about, along with a picture reference point for it, about Noah Syndergaard, and the way he's started to use his height to his advantage with his long stride, creating what they call perceived velocity. So the ball looks faster because he releases it closer to you.
He's a very big guy, and there's only one thing, and that is he hasn't grown much the last 2 years because he is an adult. And you wonder why it took so long to figure that out, because throwing downhill is the adage of just about every pitching coach, and that's what they do. And that's what we talked about in helping your curveball. You shorten your stride, making you throw downhill. For a big guy, tremendous advantage.
You've talked before about how different a fastball looks up in the zone as compared to down in the zone, too, to a hitter.
92, let's take 98. 98 down is very hittable. 98 up is almost unhittable, and it's the same velocity. So it depends on the sight line for the hitter. Change his eye level, you got yourself a winning pitch. If you keep him in one spot, the eye level right there, they get glued in, they hit it awfully hard.
It's essentially your ability to get acclimated to each pitch.
Well, it is that, and Jose has seen everything away in this at bat. There's a couple of pitches up and out of the zone that he didn't see away. So now his eye angle is locked in middle out. It will be hard for Kennedy on a fastball to get him out middle out. You see Butera looking at his feet. He wants to see if Jose is getting closer to the plate. Let's see if it works.
Missed his spot down low, 3-2.
You watch a catcher, he's going to look at your feet to see if you get closer. He's going to look at your hands to see if you've choked up or shortened it up. Right now he's looking down at Jose, hanging the sign.
Up and out, ball 4. Nicely done by Abreu to take a 10-pitch walk.
That also gets the pitch count to 64. We're not through the third. This is going to be a long night for Ian Kennedy. That's good news for the Sox. The Royal bullpen reassembled. Herrera trying to keep his job all year. He lost it as a closer last year, but it's the guys between the starter and Herrera that will prove problematic for Ned Yost. Gone are the days where he could just play a 6-inning game, turn it over to the pen, it's over. Those days are over. It's going to be a little tougher these days to mix and match out of a very much an inexperienced pen.
There's some talented arms we saw Thursday in the opener, but there is some erratic control going on too.
There's also a couple of Rule 5 players, and not that they haven't worked out. I mean, let's face it, Yohan Santana was pretty good as a Rule 5. I believe Roberto Clemente might have been a Rule 5 also, and so occasionally it turns into gold. More times than not, if you're planning on winning a championship, you don't want to have too many Rule 5 guys, and we'll explain the Rule 5.
It's an opportunity for guys who have played fairly well in the minors and have some extended time to get exposed to the possibility of breaking away from that team they're blocked in to make it to the majors with another team.
Yeah, and once, let's say you take a guy off a 40-man, you want to protect him AAA. So you protect him AAA, but that means that if somebody Rule 5s him, they've got to stay in the major leagues all year long or offer him back. Adrian Nieto, perfect example. And the Sox had him, kept him for a year, and made sure that he wasn't offered back, and they liked him enough to keep him in the organization at the time.
Especially if you're in a situation where you are rebuilding or you have the opportunity to long play a season, you can store some folks like the Padres did last year. They had a couple Rule 5 guys from A-ball that hung around for the year. 1-2. Called strike 3. Kennedy gets the benefit, and the inning's over.
Days, the minor league system in full bloom, and what talent there is in the minor leagues top to bottom. There's some guys you're probably going to see fairly soon, and some enormous talent. All these guys have to do is get their at-bats or their innings pitched. They're going to be excellent major leaguers.
Also, Kannapolis will open on Thursday as well. Kannapolis will face the Lakewood team from New Jersey. But the Sox with a top 3 farm system basically unanimously in Major League Baseball at this point, and we are seeing some of that talent that made them one of the top farm systems on the mound today. He's not having his best night in a Sox jersey so far, but Giolito is one of the major prospects for the Sox. And he credits his time in the minors for his development last season. It was May 25th of last year. He was facing AAA Syracuse in a game in Charlotte, and Giolito coming into that game had an ERA of 6.41. So it was a rough first month and a half for Lucas in AAA. He throws a no-hitter, and he does it in 87 pitches. It was a 7-inning no-hitter, doubleheader game, but he throws a no-hitter, and he felt like that was the moment when it really clicked for him. His ERA eventually dropping from 6.41 that day to 4.48 for his time in Charlotte. Left center field, Adam Engel for out number 1. Hey, join us as the Sox take on the Tigers Saturday, April 7th, 1:10 p.m. First 15,000 fans get a White Sox winter hat presented by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com. That is not the winter hat. However, it's a good look.
And very effective, might I add. A great night for it. I think tomorrow afternoon is going to be a little bit more difficult weather-wise. The snow is coming in. The cold is coming in. It's here now, going to get colder, and we'll see if indeed they do decide to play it. But that would look great on a good friend of mine, Eric Sloan, who loves the winter hats that the Sox give for promotions. He looks terrific in it. He looks like a Russian bear.
Hey there, Margie. You want the true coat?
That's a that is a what, Minnesota bear? You're
Oh, no. That's not a movie quote at all in any way. Wonder if the Sox heater's working down there. It's a good look at the Sox hats currently. Maybe send one to your friends with a 3-cent stamp there.
Yeah, good movie. Francis McDormand went on to have a nice career, as did the Coen brothers.
And so did Brian Ball.
Good looking cap.
By the way, we were talking about Ricky Renteria, and at the end of the game yesterday, we had a shot of him in the dugout, and Ricky had his glasses on. It was overcast, right? And it looked like he was wearing sunglasses. He was the only guy in the dugout wearing sunglasses on a cloudy day, and you know, you get some flack for that. Well, come to find out, as Moncada is going to make this play, maybe. Nope, Javi's playing second base now. 2 down here in the third. I said to Ricky before the game, why were you wearing sunglasses? It was cloudy. He said, was I? I said, what do you mean, were you? he said, they're transitions glasses.
They are,
he has no choice. So like, he's outside, it looks like London, and the things just change because they think it's light enough for him to be wearing sunglasses.
I once got a couple of pairs of those same glasses. And they must have been stuck on one shade because they never changed. I mean, those were mine. I'm sure that it's a wonderful product and works for everybody else. Just didn't seem to work for me.
You got the discount version. They transition, but they transition and stop.
I got the 2 for 1, the 2 for $1. And, you know, they didn't work. What can I tell you?
Well, they did have 2 lenses in, right?
Exactly. Both the same color.
Off speed outside. So 2-0 on Moustakas, who walked in the first. Royals got their first 4 on for the second straight game. That's a streak that we'd like to break at some point.
You just as soon stay away from Moustakas because he is a dead pull hitter with an open stance. He will try to roll over on it.
Looked like he had a cleaver that time. 2-1.
Expecting the ball middle out. He got it right in on his hands and didn't do much with it.
3 balls and a strike.
And we welcome all the folks who might be tuning in as Loyola's dream is over. They lose 69-57 to Michigan, making a few people happy here and a lot of people very unhappy in Chicago. So congratulations to Loyola. It was just a great year for them, and it sets up for a big year next year. Congratulations to Michigan.
That's a dart to right field, and Avi was playing him right, but ends up watching it ricochet in the corner. Moustakas is going to go for 3. They're loving it in Kansas City as the Moose goes in head first.
Moustakas was content to stay at second base, but when he saw the ball keep getting away from Avi in right field, he turned it on, made it into third base rather easily.
It's his first triple since 2015.
He's surprised because he didn't want a triple. He wanted to stay right there at second base and make sure that the hamstring stayed intact and his season could continue, and he was able to do both, get the third and hamstrings intact.
Cheering for a clean carom in right field. Moustakas a triple despite. Now Duda takes a called strike. No worse for the wear, Mike Moustakas.
We'll see here if he is very careful with Duda. You got Cuthbert on deck, and this a power hitting left-hander.
He ran a fastball in for a strike, 0-2.
He gets ahead. Now the best way out of the strike zone is not to bury a curveball in the dirt, because sometimes it's difficult to handle. Good face-high fastball now probably will get the job done. We'll see if Duda can lay off if Lucas goes up.
Breaking ball in the air. Adam Engel rushing in. Adam can't get there. A flare for a base hit and a run for Kansas City.
4th run driven in by Duda. We saw him in the opener hit a 3-run homer. This time the 0-2 pitch. It's a rolling breaking ball, not exactly hanging, but not a good pitch, especially on 0-2. It's right down the middle. Duda fists it into center field. Engel could not get to it despite a valiant attempt. Delmonico with the backup and Duda at first.
If somebody can get to it, it's Adam Engel, considering the numbers from last year and how many outs he saved Sox pitchers. But on 0-2, Duda plops it in, and the Royals lead 3-1. You know, you can end up maybe in a false sense of security when you get ahead 0-2 on a guy that you could think about pitching around.
And on a cold night, I mean, look, Lucas has the determination himself on what he wants to throw. On a cold night, it's a little difficult on that hook, and that one stayed up.
Lucas Giolito, who was very forthright this spring training about what he was trying to do last year. He came over to the Sox organization as part of that trade from the Nationals, and he spent a good chunk of his early season trying to find his velocity and throw the ball hard to prove something, as he takes something off there and gets ahead 1-2.
Look, he's still a very young pitcher, and what he will learn is what all pitchers have to learn. You can get more hitters out by taking something off than you can by trying to get another 2 miles an hour and get your humped up fastball, as they call it, and it levels out. I mean, you don't have the elasticity in your arm, and you're throwing a straight fastball instead of one with movement. 2 miles an hour faster doesn't make any difference.
Off speed, down and in. Still just 23 years old, a young rotation for Don Cooper to work with. Don's working the length of that zipper. It's behind Cuthbert. Looked like it cleanly got past him, so Duda on to second base, and 3-2 on Cuthbert.
Talked about a tough night to pitch. Wellington wants it inside, and that was inside, way inside. It was so inside it was outside, and Fortunately for Cuthbert, he does not get hit. Anything above the belt when you get hit stings a bit.
I assume below the belt's not terribly fun either.
But you'd rather have it in the posterior than in the ribs. I know. Trust me on that one.
3-2. That's down low. Ball forward. Craig Counsell, after the Brewers game yesterday, was talking about where a ball hit one of his players, and he quoted Forrest Gump, and he said I think one was in the arm and one was in the buttock, was his quote. He's very proud of himself for dropping that in.
You don't get many Forrest Gump references normally. Maybe here, maybe in Milwaukee, but not normally.
I walked into the booth earlier and you said seats taken. So
was that you?
Thank you.
He's been so cold I'm getting delirious.
Some people would challenge getting. 2 on, 2 out for Orlando. Nice jumping play by Sanchez. Wow, what a grab.
Long enough to grab this one and stop a very big inning for these Royals. Nice play, Yolmer. When you think of garages, think Danley's.
First pitch hunting, Nikki Delmonico to left center field, and Orlando for out number 1. Yolmer Sanchez with a jumping grab, and you were talking about it during the break. He didn't exactly catch that ball at the peak of his jump either.
Looked to me like he was looking for some hang time because he was just starting to descend as that ball was trying to get over his head, but a nice play by Yolmer. That one falls. It's at least one. Opens up a potentially big inning, so a good play by Yolmer getting his teammates and Lucas Giolito out of the inning.
If that ends up being a hit, you've got to imagine the Sox bullpen starts to churn, right?
I don't doubt it for a minute. Look, you've got a left-hander coming up in Gordon. He can give you some problems. You never know where the inning goes, but certainly the bullpen would have started to work. We'll never know, however, because Yolmer's heroics saved the day.
Ball low to Castillo, searching for his first White Sox hit. And Wellington, April last year, had only 3 hitless games. He was very good in the first month of the season. And you can argue, well, it's not April yet, so maybe the whole March thing is confounding.
Yeah, for good April hitters, they're not good yet. They will be because contract Players Association negotiated meant 4 extra off days. That's 12 for the year, meaning you start a little bit earlier and end on time.
Kennedy's gotten an out from 9 of the last 10 batters in this game. The only non-out was the Abreu walk last inning. Tim Anderson, who had 2 homers in the opener, standing on deck. Orlando is back on it to make the grab for route number 2.
Opening day, by the way, that one's out of the ballpark. Sox opening day home runs versus the New York Mets opener in 1988. There you see it. A big day in Montreal, a tough place to hit home runs. Normally a tough place to hit home runs here, but a big day in the opener. Shop in-store or online at mybobs.com. Dare to compare.
That is our pair to compare by Discount Bob's Furniture.
Oh, the pair.
But you can dare to compare. That's their slogan. See, that's why it rhymes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a new sponsorship. We're happy to have you.
Straw with 2 homers in that game for the Mets.
He hit a lot of them.
Yeah.
This is absolutely a pitcher's night. Hitters don't really like to get buzzed on the inside and have their hands tingling for a couple of innings. A lot of pitchers love to stay inside on a night like tonight. It's a big advantage. Kennedy certainly has settled down. A couple of hits in the first, and that's been it.
2-strike pitch is swung through. So Kennedy has ended every inning with a strikeout, and there is only strikeouts of the night. Your local Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Audi dealers. Visit AudiOffers.com for exceptional deals. Davidson home runs multiplied by Anderson home runs in the opener, plus the total of bases the Sox accounted for on opening day through those home runs, minus the number of runs the Sox scored on opening day. So the total number of bases on home runs on opening day minus the number of runs the Sox scored on opening day. This week's Sign of the Apocalypse, Sox Math has a sponsor. Alex Gordon to lead off the 4th. And he takes ball number 1.
For Lucas, this is not going to be an enchanted night, only because he can't get the feel quite yet. Hopefully it does come to him, but when a pitcher is fighting his mechanics in this case, or the feeling in his hand, then it's really a job. Sometimes you just roll along and everything is easy. This is not one of those nights for Lucas.
So what do you do?
Not much you can do until it comes back to you. I mean, you try everything, and a guy who's not 23 years old, a guy who's been in this league for quite some time, would probably know a little more about adjustments than a very young pitcher trying to feel his way. So it's these nights, though, that make you much better down the road, and you have to pay this price and understand what the big leagues teaches you. It's pitch after pitch against quality hitters, and nights when you're really fighting it is when the veteran pitchers stop the bleeding. It's when the young pitchers have a hard time with that, and then all of a sudden you find yourself 5-1, 6-1 down. That's what Lucas is fighting tonight.
And that's why you said Thursday that James Shields was the perfect guy to deal with a 4-run first inning on opening day.
Exactly right, because he's been through everything. He's seen everything. He realizes what to do when things aren't going well. And right now, Lucas doesn't have the innings under his belt to be able to do that consistently, but he will. He's going to be a top of the rotation starting pitcher in the major leagues for quite some time. It's going through these nights and not having that curveball, and all of a sudden you can't command the fastball, and the changeup isn't how you'd like it. It's these nights that will make him the best pitcher he can be, not the nights when he's coasting.
You don't want to hear that while it's happening, though.
It happened to all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason for the shift. One down. You know, the shift is really interesting because you look, and when the ball gets hit somewhere where the shift wasn't, you say, well, why did we shift? And the answer is sometimes the shift is going to get outdone. Sometimes people are going to put the ball where they're not expected to by the numbers.
Analytics say that, let's say in this case, 65% of the time he's going to pull the ball into the shift, 35% of the time not. You'll always take those odds, and so that's why you shift. It looks particularly egregious when it doesn't work for you, but they have a history on these guys. They know where he hits the ball most of the time. They know against a certain type of pitcher he's going to pull it. That's why you shift. Sometimes the hitter's just too good. Sometimes the hitter beats you and goes the other way. Sometimes he bunts into the shift. That's why you play the third baseman in, or should, at least for 2 strikes.
This one lifted to the right side by Escobar. Garcia is there on the move for out number 2. Game 3 of this series scheduled tomorrow for 1:15, but there is some question as to whether or not the wintry mix is going to stand in the way of that one.
Well, I have a feeling if indeed the weather comes in that's expected, they'll probably call it early, allowing us to get to Toronto for a 3-game series. Toronto just bid adieu to the New York Yankees. Yankees winning 2 of 3 on the road, a good trick. Stanton showing he can hit.
Those are all 6 o'clock games, 6 o'clock Central in Toronto. The Sox will play the Blue Jays before coming home for that opener on April 5. 3 o'clock start time. Get there early so you can watch the pregame festivities at Guaranteed Rate Field. Sox and Tigers, and then the Sox and the Rays to continue that homestand before the Sox hit the road again for Minnesota and Oakland. Nice catch by Castillo, 2-2.
Dan Iasonia tonight is giving pitchers a couple inches off the outside corner, and catchers know it right away. Pitchers certainly know it, but you can't watch from the dugout. You have to observe. If you observe, you realize you got to go out and get an expanded outside corner. .65 pitches at this point, the high total for Lucas. But again, when you're fighting yourself, and he is with most every breaking pitch, it's going to happen. He's trying to make the most of it. You get out of this, maybe put on another one. Perhaps if the pitches are down, you have a very good 5th inning. Maybe you go through 6.
Yeah, you can tell just based on reaction that Lucas is kind of fighting his own stuff tonight.
It happens, and it will happen. And the question is, how quickly do you bring it back? Young pitchers have a tendency, when they're rolling along, everything's terrific and they go very well. If they have some difficulties early, they never really get it back until they understand how to get it back. That is the domain of Don Cooper, who's a very good one.
Pumping in strikes. Butero fouls it away. Giolito In terms of August 1st to the end of the year, ERA for rookies last year, starting pitching rookies last year, the last 2 months of the season, he had the best ERA among everybody at 2.38. Ahead of Chris Stratton of San Francisco, Robert Stevenson, and Luis Castillo of Cincinnati. Butera helped him out there. That ball was running inside, and Tim is there with a jumping grab for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning for Lucas, 3-1 to the 5th. Winner tonight is Social Media is Dumb. So there's some self-loathing going on here with our winner. Davidson, 3 homers, 2 for Anderson, 3 times 2 is 6. 24 bases on home runs. So 30 minus 14 runs on opening day. An outburst for the Sox. 16 is your answer. Congratulations. Social Media is Dumb. And thanks to all the Sox fans who came to Kansas City for this series. There have been a bunch of Sox jerseys in the crowd. Ran into a couple Sox fans at dinner here in Kansas City last night, getting some barbecue.
I ran into the family of Nikki Delmonico. Met his father, a 30-year long baseball coach. Very nice man, very knowledgeable about the game. Delmonico is really enjoying what's happened to Nikki so far, and so it was nice. Remembering my parents coming to meet me on the road, it's great to see the parents of the players and the joy in their eyes when they talk about what's going on with their sons.
Yolmer pokes one to left field, and it's a leadoff single, breaking 4 in a row for Kennedy, and the first Sox hit since the Davidson RBI in the first.
Ian Kennedy is trying to break a very ugly streak. He's given up a home run in his last 10 games dating back to August 7th of 2017. The longest active streak in the major leagues as Yolmer takes a low pitch, guides it into left field, and a promising start to the 5th inning. Sox down by a pair. It's tied at 3. It's been an errorless game so far.
Sox had the late error on the Moncada throw in the opener. Kansas City still error-free for the year. As Engel jabs down a bunt, and there's nobody at first base.
That's a play. It's a mistake of Merrifield, and the reason is Merrifield stayed at second. Escobar was already there. Great bunt by Engel, gets himself a base hit, forces Duda to come get it, and you have to have great coordination. Take a look at Merrifield. Yolmer's not running. Merrifield breaks to his left, and then I'm not sure what he was looking for, but it wasn't the right call as far as the Royals are concerned. It's delightful as far as the Sox are concerned.
With the shift on, can he get to first?
At that place, no, but he started to break to first and then realized he was hung out to dry. If you make Duda catch the ball, field the ball where Kennedy can't get it, with the speed of Engel, it's almost a guaranteed hit.
Moncada with a bunt. And he fouls it back.
We've seen a few bunts tonight, and the similarity in the ones that didn't work You drop the head of the bat. When you drop the head of the bat, you're going to pop the ball straight up. You hope it's fouled back. If not, it's not going to be executed well. You have to keep the bat up. If you do, the ball goes down, and you execute a bunt perfectly, and a good time for it by Yuan. Good thought process.
Now he shoulders the bat, so 1-1. Sometimes, as we've gotten to know Ricky Renteria and his managerial style, there have been times where players will have the bunt on their own. It's not always Ricky's call when you see a bunt in that situation.
No, sometimes he's going to let the players make the call themselves, and the idea was very good. And if you make, in this case, Moustakas field it, then you're going to move both runners up. But I'm not sure he's going to be bunting again.
Sanchez at second, Engel at first. And a bluff from Ian Kennedy, who we mentioned in passing, as now they're going to use one of their mound visits. We mentioned in passing on Thursday, it was 5 years ago, Kennedy was with the Diamondbacks, and he had one of the odd sports injuries that you hear about sometimes in the context of the Royals. It was Salvador Perez carrying luggage on Wednesday, hurting himself. But Kennedy had to miss a start when he was in Arizona. He was at home washing dishes. He was cleaning a knife and cut himself with the knife that he was cleaning.
Well, fortunately, my China pattern is plastic, so that's not going to happen to me. But unfortunately for Ian, it did happen to him.
The thought is get a dishwasher.
Yeah, bring somebody in to wash them. Is that what you're talking about?
There's a technological achievement, actually, that maybe has gone past you.
Yes, it has. Well, you know, you lay out that big money early instead of bringing somebody in, you know, buy them a bagel or that donut we were talking about earlier, the toasted coconut one. Then you got yourself somebody to wash your dishes.
Again, they're not that expensive. Just go get a dishwasher.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about one.
Breaking ball, nice pitch. Kennedy drops in a hook, and he's got his 5th strikeout.
Curveball has come back to Ian Kennedy, and he's making very good use of it. That is a big out, leaves him right there. You got an out, now a double play away from getting out of the inning. But a man who's been hitting the ball pretty hard in Avi. Kennedy last year had an ERA of 7.16 against division opponents, of which, as you know, the Sox are one. That was the 2nd worst among all non-qualifying starting pitchers in the major leagues. League average 4.50. Again, 7.16 for Ian Kennedy.
Sox pasted him last year as Avi goes after another nice breaking ball. Two walks, 5 strikeouts, 4 hits so far for Kennedy. As you see, Sanchez at second, Engel at first.
Looking at those two numbers, 15 and 9 or 8, depending on what comes up, it's important for Adam Engel to get a good lead. Reason being that the trailer is very important in this scenario. First of all, if he gets a good lead, it's going to be hard to force him at second base. Second of all, representing the tying run means he's going to have to go get him. Very few guys on this team can run with Adam Engel. So that big lead, and the only thing you have to worry about with Salvi Perez, he loved to go behind the base runner, get your first baseman going to the bag and try to pick off the trailer. It's much more effective, much easier for the catchers with the left-hand hitter up. This time Adam Engel can see everything because Avi, a right-hand hitter, everything exposed to him. But you see 16 feet, going to be a little bigger here. Wants to make sure his momentum takes him towards second.
On 2 strikes, it's on the ground to third. Moustakas, Merrifield, double play. First good chance for the Sox in a while, and the Royals turn 2.
Pounds a ground ball to third base. It becomes an easy 2. Adam gets down there quickly, but Merrifield on the replay and just a little too quick. Smoothly done on the 5-4-3. Engel could not get a piece of Merrifield, and an easy 2.
So Lucas Giolito back out for the 5th inning after allowing 2 in the 1st and 1 in the 3rd. This one is not well hit. Moncada somehow got there, but Jay is on. Good range, but the throw was errant from Yohan Moncada.
It is a base hit off the end of the bat, slowly out of the box, and yet tough play for Moncada. Not only on a cold night, but any night, going away from the throw, trying to throw it across his body, and Jose does a good job. Responsibility for the first baseman there. Abandon the bag, stop the baseball, let the man stay at first, not go to second. So nice job by Jose.
Now Whit Merrifield, who was hit by a pitch and scored a run in the 1st. And he takes ball 1 at 91 from Giolito, who's up over 70 pitches now.
Ed Yost not the most aggressive manager because he doesn't have a whole lot of speed in this lineup, but Merrifield is the man you can use for the hit and run. He's very good at it, has good bat control. The only thing that might argue against it is that Giolito has not had the control where you know he's going to throw a strike consistently.
Upstairs, and there the button does get pushed, so Jay steals second.
It was a hit and run, and unfortunately for Lucas, that ball pushed Merrifield out, making an easy stolen base. He's off to the races, and no chance for Wellington. There goes Jay looking back. When he looks back, it shows you it's the hit and run. The reason being that if it's straight steal, he's going to just go straight to the bag. That time he wanted to look for contact, didn't see any, and stole it easily.
Down low, 3 balls, no strikes. Whit Merrifield, his father ended up a sports executive. His mom was an extremely talented tennis player. She was a 5-time South Carolina tennis champion.
That's pretty impressive. I would say it drove a lot of people out of South Carolina who wanted to win a tennis championship.
If you can't beat them, move. Inside ball 4. That's walk number 4 for the Royals tonight.
You would think that one would start perhaps the bullpen to start moving. A cold night, but pitches not quite exactly the way we're looking for.
Take a look at Mike Moustakas and the StatCast on his triple. Came off the bat at 111.9. Never really got a whole lot off the ground. And then the question is, how much oxygen did StatCast have for Moustakas needing at the end of that foray to third? They have this thing called sprint speed, which is essentially your fastest couple of moments on the average on the base path, right? So they take just little pockets of time and try to show how fast you are based on your sprinting speed. Moustakas was one of the 4 slowest third basemen in baseball last year. Chesler Cuthbert was also one of the 4 slowest, as Sanchez got there quickly for out number 1.
And with the bullpen going in the background, and it's not lost on Lucas that the pen is up and going, he makes a very good pitch to a tough hitter, Mike Moustakas. And that was a big pitch because it allows you on a double play to get out of the inning. So he handcuffs a pretty good hitter, gets him out for the first time tonight on a harmless pop-up and trying to extricate himself from the potentially difficult inning.
How about a ball on the old dusty trail here?
And that would be
something on the ground.
Ah, I say a baseball reference.
Also a very nice website. Hey, Sox fans, be sure to check into Guaranteed Rate Field with the MLB Ballpark app for your first check-in this season. You get a free White Sox hat presented by Coca-Cola. Download the MLB Ballpark app through the App Store today.
Gibson going for Minnesota's got a no-hitter in the bottom of the 6th at Baltimore as the Twins, the very much improved Twins, leading 5-0 at the Birds.
We thought at the end of last year that there was not much of a chance Kyle Gibson was back with the Twins this season. That one is to shortstop, and Tim Anderson jumps to grab it. Nicely done by Jay to scramble back, and 2 down.
Nice idea by Tim because he knew there was probably a double play waiting. But you see where Moncada is, no chance to get back to the bag in time, so Tim just takes his time, does not let loose of the baseball. In this situation, if you keep on holding on to it, nothing bad can happen. Hector Santiago loosening in the pen. And Lucas 1 out away from getting out of a first and second nobody out jam, including a stolen base.
Check swing, no go, says Adrian Johnson at first. Well, we told you Tim spent his off day at Disney on Ice, but maybe learned like a triple toe loop or something from Elsa or Anna or something.
Well, what he did was look at the technique that Yolmer used at third. He imitated that. It worked perfectly. So Yolmer just making all kinds of friends on the infield.
Tim takes this one from deep at short, and Jose with a beautiful shovel out for out number 3. So 2 left on for Kansas City. Sox are down just 2, and Jose's coming.
By Meyer, true Chicago fans.
Jose Abreu, Matt Davidson, Nikki Delmonico coming up here in the 6th inning to face Ian Kennedy after a 2-hit 5th inning, but a double play. See if the Sox can get to Kennedy here with Abreu, then Davidson and Delmonico.
Well, you'd love to get into that Kansas City pen because it's been less than overwhelming since they had to reconfigure it. High pitch total, 91 on the way. And the bullpen up and going for the Royals, as most likely this is Kennedy's last inning one way or the other.
We saw a cavalcade out of the bullpen Thursday for Kansas City. If you can chuck it, you're going to pitch, was the motto on Thursday for Ned Yost.
And there is the bullpen. Justin Grimm. We saw them all in the opener, leaving nothing to be too mysterious to each and every one of these new Royals inhabiting the pen. Ned emptied it out. Right there was the swing that Jose's been looking for this entire game. He got a pitch right down the middle. He was right on the pitch. When a hitter fouls it straight back, you know he's right on it. Butera wants it in. Kennedy gets it right over the middle of the plate. And Jose, thinking home run, just got under the ball.
Threw him another fastball, and Jose chopped it back to Kennedy. That one was more elevated, and he gets the out.
Also jammed him, and didn't want to risk throwing the ball away from him, so got it inside. Good pitch, tied up Jose, and a fairly easy out.
Here's Matt Davidson, who had the 3 home runs on opening day, an RBI single in the first of this game, game 2. To third, and that's a foul ball.
Here's a stat you might want to consider when you take a look at Ian Kennedy. Certainly if you're going to hit him or try to, because last year he threw his curve or slider down for a strike 46.2% of the time all last year. That's lowest among non-qualifying starting pitchers in the major leagues. League average 55.5. He was at 46%. Well below league average. Look for the fastball early.
Moustakas have some seeds there that he was.
He did. Yes, he did.
Popping into his mouth.
Yep.
That was a large amount.
Well, I think the first seed is going to win the NCAA, so that's just Moustakas' feelings also.
Tragic at best.
I think Villanova is going to be tough to beat, but maybe Blue can take him, assuming Villanova gets by.
Yeah, so Kansas is playing very shortly, so you have to imagine that there might be some split attention spans here at Kauffman Stadium as well. They were already closing down streets downtown to get ready for the parties for the semifinal game here in KC.
Well, that's probably where the majority of the people who are here opening day have gone. There's a few less. Might have something to do with the elements.
Davidson just tomahawks a ball to shortstop, and Escobar's there for out number 2. Hey, White Sox games are better with a group. Group events are perfect for clients or employees celebrating or fundraising. Bring your group out for specially priced tickets and a great experience. It's never too early to start planning your summer outing. For more information, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com. A lot of great homestands. We'll see the champion Astros very early in the season.
Champion Astros pretty good. 2-1 after their 9-3 win over Texas today. Is best news for them, Lance McCullers Jr. threw a gem today. Now he's back where he was before. He's got great stuff. If he can stay healthy, that's going to be a starting rotation that most other teams can only dream about.
It's scary to think that they weren't at full strength, right? Like this team is getting better and added Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at that rotation top to bottom. That's about as tough as it gets. I mean, Washington is good. Houston might be better as far as a rotation. As you can see, 101. The trouble spot the first. Then he buttoned it up. 21 in the third. Other than that, the second, the fourth, the fifth, here in the sixth. Pretty economical for Ian Kennedy.
It's a similar performance to what we saw from James Shields on Thursday for the Sox.
Very similar. I mean, he buttoned it up also. And now Nicky's going to get a good pitch to hit. Kennedy wants to wrap up this performance. He wants to get it out here. It's going to be a fastball tapped inside, sitting outside.
Nicky was on it and fouled it away, 3-2.
So why does a catcher tap inside like that? Because the hitter's not looking at him. What he wants the hitter to feel is he's going to slide inside, maybe a little movement on the part of the catcher. Then he sets up outside. So it's called olfactory senses, and he's trying to fool him with his ears as opposed to anything else.
He's using his nose?
No.
I think it's auditory.
That too.
I thought you were telling me he was smelling Butera's shoes.
Could very well be. I would say personally that would be even a step above auditory. Or Terry? Or ears? Which one?
Ear. All of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Smells fishy here. Nikki Delmonico yanks this ball to right field, and it can't get away from John Jay. He ran it down, And finished off a 1-2-3 inning. Nikki pasted it, but couldn't get it to drop.
White Sox debit card only available to your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
Well, at least one more batter for Lucas Giolito here, who got 3 straight outs in the 5th.
It's 79 pitches. You figure he's going to go as long as he can. And that was an off-speed pitch, a changeup that he got over the plate for the called strike. Nice way to get ahead of Orlando, who will also occasionally bunt.
Track star from Brazil, who the Sox are very familiar with. He started in the Sox organization.
Still a tough time fighting his curveball late in the ball game for him at the 81 pitch mark. Credit Lucas with keeping this game close despite having very little field tonight. I mean, this is one of his toughest performances, and yet he's kept his team in the ball game. But for a key base hit here or there, the score is different. But Lucas has only held him to, 3 runs, 4 hits. That's it when he doesn't have nearly his best stuff.
You know, after the game, he's going to give credit to the defense, too, with Sanchez with a nice jumping play. Tim with not as high a level of difficulty of a jumping play, but he made the play, certainly.
Also, a very nice play in right center by Avi, who ran one down. I mean, he went a long way to get it. So this becomes for him an inning that he'd like to finish with a flourish.
Sanchez at third. And out number 1. Time now for America's fastest growing sensation. It's growing so fast, it's got a sponsor. Sticks and Stone, brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit your local Volkswagen dealer or VWdealer.com. George Brett, 7 for 21 against you. He's one of only 4 MLBers to have 3,000 hits, a 300 average, and 300 home runs. Who does not of those 3?
I'm guessing, well, and it would be a guess. I'm guessing Willie Mays on the average, but who knows? But I will tell you a good story about George Brett if you got some time.
We do, yeah.
Okay.
It's game 2 of 162.
Okay, I'll try to weave this one in as you look at the defense and the shift with Anderson on the first base side of second for the dead pull hitting Alex Gordon. So I'm starting opening day 1981. Kansas City and George Brett are in Baltimore. My father is there to accept the Cy Young Award because I was warming up the bullpen. Earl Weaver, the Hall of Fame manager of Baltimore, is sitting next to my father, and he goes, "You see that guy, number 5, like the 5 you're looking at? You see that guy there?" My dad goes, "Yeah." He says, "You know who that guy is?" My dad says, "No." He says, "He's George Brett." He says, "He's hitting 400 off your kid." Actually 480 at the time. "Think your kid's going to get him out today?" My dad said, "I don't know." I did. He hit a home run, got him out twice. I won the game. He left. Thanks, George, and thank for the Royals.
That'll show him.
Yeah, well, he just killed me like so many left-handers.
I 7 for 21.
Yeah,
it's only 333.
But at one point it was 480 at that point. I guess I got him out a few times.
That was a turning point in your life, I think, is what you're telling us from deep in your heart, that story.
Exactly. If not a turning point, certainly an auditory point. Not an olfactory point. Auditory. I heard him hit the home run.
You ever watch The Sixth Sense?
No. I mean, you know,
maybe you should learn the first 5.
we were a very poor family, only could afford 4 senses.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You got to the Haley Joel, but never the Osmond. Escobar 0 for 2 with a comebacker and a flyout, and Giolito hucks in strike 1.
Pen up and going. Danny Farquhar. I think I got this one wrong.
You do?
I do.
Looks like we're going to have to find out in the 7th inning, and Lucas is very happy about that. 6 in a row retired by the 23-year-old from Cali, Giolito. Sox trying to come back. .300 home runs. Who doesn't was the question. You guessed Willie Mays.
Ted Williams. How about that?
So there you have it. He didn't have 3,000 hits is the problem, just because of all the service time and the military.
Because of the war. And Justin Grimm comes in. 50 games last year. Look at the numbers. They were a little bit worse than he would have liked. He figures to get a whole lot of work out of the bullpen. We saw him in the opener. He went a third of an inning and threw it okay. He did give up a run. He did not give up a hit, but it was the walk that scored and helped do him in.
I think when you say something like, hey, he didn't have 3,000 hits because of the war effort,
no,
it's just unfathomable to this generation that baseball would just stop. But that's exactly what happened.
And fortunately, I mean, a lot of players saw things decrease for them, but you know, Ted was just a wonderful hitter. One of, if not the greatest hitters in the game. So that's not disputable. And again, he missed a lot of time. Time in his prime, he missed.
On base percentage for his career, 482.
Well, I mean, that's okay. I don't think he walked quite as much as the pounding of the baseball would dictate that kind of on base percentage.
So imagine this for a player nowadays. 709 strikeouts, 2,021 walks.
Yeah, that's certainly, you won't see that ever again.
Ever.
Well, look, this is an era where they want to hit the ball out of the ballpark. A lot of people do. They're not worried about strikeouts at all. They figure an out's an out, which sometimes, only sometimes in a game, are well-made outs very important.
Breaking ball for strike 3, and Grimm has his first out of the game.
This is a good hook as Grimm buckles the knees of Castillo. As soon as you see a hitter do that, especially righty to righty, you know he's got no chance to hit it. And that time, Wellington's knees buckled for a called third.
So Tim Anderson, who's 0 for 2 with a pop out and a strikeout, 2 for 6 on the year. Tim has mentioned previously bringing the swag back to the South Side, as he says, and he's made allusions to being the Jordan and Pippen of the middle infield, he and Moncada. And it's worthwhile to mention that today is the anniversary of the Sox assigning Michael Jordan to AA Birmingham back in '94. Left side and through. So the tying run's going to come up. Anderson, a one-out single.
Nice at bat for Tim, and you saw the same curveball that buckled the knees of Castillo. This time the knees started to buckle, but Tim stayed right there, drove it by Moustakas. The range of Moose not quite what it once was. We'll take a look. Watch it again. Knees start to buckle, but Tim stays right there. He didn't pull off. He stayed right there, took it through the left side. Now you got big speed on the base paths. With the Sox down only 2. Credit Giolito, a terrific performance tonight, only in that he kept his team close into the 7th inning. This very much a winnable ball game, and because Lucas did not have his great stuff, turns into a masterful performance for him. I was pretty impressed because he got it back together as well as he could. Was a great trip to the mound, the second in an inning by Don Cooper, because Castillo and the whole infield had been out there once. Don, after a walk, went out there, settled him down, and since that point, Lucas has not dominated, but he threw the ball pretty well. The 4 walks, well, he's not happy with that, but he's got to be happy with this performance.
Yeah, the cynics would say, well, Stoney, can't call it terrific, but the reason you call it terrific is he didn't have his A stuff and still kept the team in the game, right?
And first of all, it is a quality start. 3 runs, 6 innings. And more important, when your team scores only 1, you can't afford to give up more than 3. And Don Cooper talking with him, Lucas understanding that, you know, it was one of those really battling nights. Don Cooper is saying you did a nice job, son, with what you had. And it worked out pretty well. Now, if the offense can cooperate, Lucas has got him here, still in the game, and 8 outs to go.
I think that last look at Giolito with the smile on his face, too, signals how this clubhouse feels at the beginning of the season. Certainly, there was a scramble for him at points tonight, and he still has kept his head in the dugout. Tim's off, pitches outside. Anderson is in there safely, and the ball gets away briefly. No need to press it for Anderson with a stolen base.
You know, Yolmer came very close to swinging at that ball, and I think that Butera is talking with Iasonia about interference on the batter. We'll take a look at Tim. He looks back to see if there's any contact, slides easily, the ball gets away, no advance. And watch Yolmer. He goes out with his bat. Now, that's exactly what Butera talked to Iasonia about, who said, hey, no harm, no foul. Watch it again. Watch Butera. Watch Yolmer. You go out with the bat after the play, normally you might get that called against you. I know Butera wanted it, didn't get it.
So if you watch Yolmer's face as he checks his swing, he looked like he was frustrated that he even put the bat out there. It looked like an accidental response. Not that intent matters, but if anybody thought there was chicanery going on there.
Well, absolutely no chicanery, because obviously when you put your bat out when the ball is in the catcher's glove, there could obviously be no chicanery. I mean, the ball was by him already before the cane and the chicane came at the same time.
So you're a little skeptical of my position?
Yes, as usually happens, I am.
Merrifield at second base as out number 2. Anderson to third. Engel coming up. I just don't think you can fake that human reaction, though.
Right. I know nobody would ever do that in this game, because this game, I mean, nobody ever cheats in this game at all. You try to get away with what they can. Sometimes you're called, sometimes you're not. My feeling is when you swing after the ball's in the catcher's glove, when a guy just happens to be base stealing, I think the coincidences pile up and it strains credibility.
Credulity, yeah.
And that too. I could hear it actually as it hit the catcher's glove.
It's optical then, right?
It's a delusion, yes, optical delusion. That was a nice attempt at a bunt by Adam Engel, who bunted his way on in the 5th, looking for a little more as Moustakas was back, Duda was back, and again a right side bunt. But one thing from Grimm, he's got such a good curveball. Anderson has to come toward the plate because anything in the dirt he can score.
So you want Tim to be moving toward the plate as the pitch comes.
Your lead is irrelevant at third base. Your lead is exactly as far as Moustakas away from the bag, but you won't want to take a big enough lead where you're stationary when the ball comes home. You want to take a short enough lead and come down the line with the pitch. And there's an example. A nice stop by Butera, the curveball in the dirt. He shifted his body. You bring the elbows in to make sure it doesn't get by you. You angle your body so the carom stays right in front of you. Watch Butera on the curveball. He goes to his right. You can see him put the glove down to cover up the 5-hole, angle the body, bring the elbows in, and the ball trickles in front. Well played by Butera. He saves a run.
Fouled away, 2-2 on Adam, with Moncada coming next.
How do you like what you've seen of the ball club through a little over 1.5 games?
Look, this team is worth 27 outs every night. 27 outs. That's the feeling that I get based on the clubhouse, based on the atmosphere, based on the comeback on Thursday. It's a really viable team concept.
And you'll notice where Merrifield is, he's not on the third base side of second.
Check swing, and Adam did go around. Strike 3, tag down, inning over. 3-1 stretch time.
Is the next 3 against the Blue Jays starting Monday, and we've got the game tomorrow ostensibly. A lot of weather coming in. Hopefully it'll stay out. There you look at the Ram upcoming schedule. Danny Farquhar comes in the ball game. Giolito went 6. There you look at the numbers last year for Farquhar. Pretty respectable out of the bullpen. Lucas went 6, gave up 3 runs on only 4 hits, but he walked 4 and he fanned 1. Not a typical Giolito performance because he certainly is going to strike out more guys. He's going to walk less guys. But 3 and 6 in this day and age of baseball, not bad. Considered a quality start.
Well, you said it early. Some days you're standing out there and you know that you're not going to do anything pioneering, right?
I mean, you know it's going to be a battle every pitch all game long as long as you're in there. Credit Lucas with going 6 full innings, leaving again Just a few outs for the bullpen to handle, assuming the offense does come around.
That looked like a pretty good pitch.
No, that was a good pitch, and I think Danny wanted it, showing his frustration a bit. And right now, you know, Castillo is talking with Iasonia, telling him, look, you know, we kind of got to have that one. That's a pretty good pitch.
Take that one. Like both.
You would like both. Both appeared to be strikes, but Iasonia, by and large, has had a very good night behind the plate. So, you know, when not too many of the guys are looking back and pitchers looking in, you know that the umpire's doing a nice job. And that identical pitch to the pitch he called a ball. So at 2-2, pitcher with an advantage.
What's his choice here?
Choice would be something away. Tried to throw that fastball over the outside corner, get the same call that he had last pitch, and didn't get it done. But the Royals bullpen, and we're seeing Brandon Maurer, who has a shot eventually of being a closer, was a closer, but that's Herrera for the time being. Maurer with a big arm.
Three and two. Swing and a miss. Strike three. So Farquhar comes in and gets a punch out.
Throws it right by him on nothing fancy. A fastball, saying here it is. See how far you can hit it. Little tardy on the swing and a big first out.
You know, it's interesting that Farquhar comes in. He's the first guy to relieve Giolito this season, because James Fegan from The Athletic did a great story during spring training about Farquhar, and he's got a teaching gene in him, and he taught Lucas Giolito in part about how certain teams have more difficulty discerning, and hitters overall have difficulty discerning up and down as compared to in and out. And he uses data pretty significantly, and he and Giolito sat down and had a fairly long discussion about that, multiple discussions. And James wrote a really nice story about it that you can check out if you are into data like that.
Data is my life.
Is that right?
Stephen D. Stone, the D for data.
Fill out a lot of name change forms, it feels like.
By the way, remember something as we head north into Canada. Be sure that you have on your phone a Canadian plan, or you're going to have to take out a mortgage to pay your next bill. I found that out the hard way the first time I went there with my smartphone, which I discovered 2 years ago, and the bill was enormous. Now I know I've got to get a plan, which I don't have yet because I forgot about it until today.
So that was basically a reminder for yourself via me.
Well, yes, I don't have the plan quite yet, but I'm easing into it, trying to get it tomorrow. Is Verizon open on Sunday? I don't know. Is it?
Interestingly enough, you can use your phone to make that phone call.
Well, obviously, what else would you make it on? Nice play. Nice catch.
Indeed. Yolmer looking at the dugout as if to say, what'd I just do?
This is not an easy play, especially we told you about the wind at the beginning of the game. It hasn't gotten any lighter as Yolmer comes over. The wind is carrying the ball. It's taking it away from him, and nice backhand. Very close to the netting over there. Good play by Yolmer. And not gonna get a whole lot of help from the camera crew over there, but he made a nice play. Quickly 2 up and 2 down.
The many faces of Yolmer Sanchez. Could be a nice flip book. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Farquhar. We are through 7. Still a 2-run game. app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get White Sox home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. By the way, we're the Game of the Day today, Steve.
Great.
Yep.
And what we need is at the top of the order, we need to get to Mauer before Herrera gets a chance to close it down. So a big outing for the new Brandon Moyer.
That ball's hit well by Moncada, deep to right center field, and Yohan deposits it out of here to make it 3-2. That is a good start.
It's a way to get it done on a night where it's a little chilly, but it goes to right center field tonight. Not going to go so much to left field. And Moncada, who doesn't need any incentive to hit it out in any field. He is very strong. He can hit it from both sides of the plate and hit it hard. It's a one-run game. Supposed to be away. It was a changeup. Yohan waits back. The toe tap gives him some hang time and able to hit that changeup out of the ballpark. It's a good task, hitting a changeup away, taking it out to right field.
There is massive power in that 22-year-old body. And Yohan Moncada makes it a 3-2 game. So you said this bullpen might be gettable, and the Sox are on the way.
Well, also the fact that Moncada, for a long time, the #1 prospect in baseball with the Red Sox.
On the ground, Escobar forgot something. Avi's safe, and the Sox have the tying run on.
Take another look at it as Escobar coasts to his left. He thinks he's got the ball. He does not. Taking a look, and that is the tying run with nobody out at first base.
You think about the possibility of hit and run here?
No. Let the power guys hit it. He'll hit it to right if he thinks he can, but a hit and run, no. You don't want to hang. You don't want to hang Avi out to dry. And Butera is pretty good. We've seen it tonight. He's a really good catch it and throw it guy. So I think that you let the power guys hit it. You let the run producing guys try to produce the runs, and Jose will take care of the rest. If he gets a good hittable pitch, he can take it to right field.
Jose a line out to second, a ground ball back to the starting pitcher Kennedy in the 6th. As the Sox try to wring away a win from Ian Kennedy and the Royals here late. Jose has been very close to hitting a couple of balls fair and hard tonight.
You'd have to feel he's a little frustrated because he did get 2 very hittable pitches, and the Royals very happy to have Mauer because what they do is they've got 2 closers. One's going to set up, however, and if Herrera has some problems, Mauer can fill that role. Last year, most of his saves came with San Diego, 20 of them. He came over to Kansas City late. He had a couple of saves, used as a setup man mostly, but an ERA of 8.10 last year for Kansas City.
1-2. Jose reaches out to get it. Merrifield thinks about second and does get the out there. So Avi cut down.
Good play by Merrifield, only in that he didn't panic at all. He knew it was going to be close at second, but he took his time. He depended on his arm because his legs got him to the ball, and then he knows it's a strong enough arm where he can make that play to second. Took his time, made a good throw, cut down the lead man, leaving Abreu on.
So now Matt Davidson, who had the hardest hit 3 balls of his career, all in one game on Thursday, takes a hook for a strike.
Good breaking ball by Mauer, who's got a pretty good one tonight. You just have to hope you get one that rolls.
Looks like Matt's going to have to get used to first pitch curveball.
Three home runs opening day will get you a plethora of breaking balls on the first pitch. He's going to see a lot of them this year. But you know, you ask a hitter, you know, if they're going to throw you a first pitch curveball, why don't you just give up the fastball and wait for the hook? I ask a Hall of Famer that same question. That Hall of Famer, Eddie Murray from the Baltimore Orioles, 504 home runs, one of the most powerful switch hitters in history, Mickey Mantle being the one above him. And he said, I know they're going to throw me a hook. I know they're going to throw it every time. First pitch going to be a hook. I don't want to hit a hook. Want to hit a fastball. If he misses with the curveball, he's got to come to me with the fastball. That's what I want to hit, and that's the same way that any big hitter feels. They never want to give up the fastball and look for the hook. You hang it, well, you're theirs. You make a real good one, well, that's him. And then you wait for a mistake, or you wait for the fastball, but you never get off the fastball. If you can't hit the fastball, you're selling cars for a living.
You make a good living doing that, but
not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nobody's throwing you a curveball.
No, in fact, some of my best friends sell cars, usually to me, like every 6 months or so.
Outside 3-2 for Matt. Delmonico on deck. Castillo to follow. Abreu at first.
Nobody in the bullpen, so it's going to be Mauer against Delmonico if this inning is alive when we get there.
Royals do have a couple of lefties out there, but it won't be one to face Nikki. That's high and inside. Matt draws a walk, and they're 2 on with 1 down in the 8th. And by the way, Matt Davidson over at first is going to take his newfound success into the podcast hosting realm this year. That's a picture of us getting ready for the podcast.
Who is that guy with Matt Davidson? I got to tell you.
Matt is in charge of this thing. He is the host of the podcast. I'm just kind of there for whatever relief. As the Sox are going to bring out Davidson for a pinch runner, Abreu at second, and Saladino is going to pinch run. But the podcast will drop next week, and Matt Davidson will tell you all about his frosted tips and many other things about his 3 home run game, which, by the way, he said was the first of his career at any level. 3 home runs in 1 game, and it comes on opening day in the majors for the first time ever. Youth baseball, anything.
Pretty impressive in that, what is there, 8 all time? That's not too bad. So representing the go-ahead run, the potential winning run, Tyler Saladino at first base. I talked with Sally yesterday, and we were talking about how you stay sharp when you're not going to play all the time. He said you just go get your work in, and Sally was saying that you work as hard as you can, you stay ready in case you're needed, and we know about injuries and all that goes with a major league season at 162 games. You're going to get a chance to play, and Sally wants to be ready when called upon, and it's not as easy as it sounds.
Pinch running, maybe the easiest part of the bench work, you think?
Yeah, all you got to do is, you warm up your legs and you're ready to go, but the rest of it, defense would be the second most difficult thing, but it's the offense. It's swinging the bat when you don't get regular at bats. Guys who can hit off the bench are worth their weight in gold, and Sally can do just about anything. So yes, very valuable man if you can do it. A lot of guys cannot hit off the bench.
Well, I asked you because you've pinch run quite a bit in your career, honestly.
Unfortunately, I did. I made a very bad mistake scoring from first on a short double. And my manager at the time, Jim Marshall, said, I didn't know you could run. I said, well, I can when need be. Then forever, I couldn't wear tennis shoes between starts. I wore my spikes. And actually, I think that I pinch ran, I don't know, 9-10 times, something like that. I also was a DH, by the way. Just, you besmirched my character on my hitting. It was 100, but I was a designated hitter. Now,
I didn't besmirch a darn thing.
Oh, you just let that stat stand alone?
I sure did.
I thought it was pretty impressive. But I was a DH in Detroit for Earl Weaver and the Orioles. And we will explain how that happened.
1-2 on the ground to first base, and the Royals will go the short way for out number 2. So Abreu to third, Saladino to second, and all it takes is a wayward breaking ball to get the Sox to the tie here with Castillo coming up.
Earl Weaver, the Hall of Fame manager of Baltimore, took advantage of the rules at that point that nobody else had noticed. And I'd pitched the night before. We went to Detroit, and someone said, look at the lineup card. I saw Stone in the 7th spot. And so I went up to Earl. I said, did we trade for a guy who could hit named Stone? He says, no, that's you. I said, I can't hit. He goes, you're not going to. But if we knock out that pitcher after 6 hitters, I want the flexibility to put in that spot whoever I want to, and you're not going to hit. Next year, they called it the Weaver rule, and now you have to hit if you're the DH. So,
but not in college. They haven't put that into college.
Right.
So college coaches still do that.
Well, I will forever be a DH, a miserable one, but a DH. Big spot for Wellington, looking for his first hit of the year.
Ooh, that was That was the kind of errant pitch that we were looking for up here, huh?
Butera's really done a nice job behind the plate because he's moved to both sides of the plate to block pitches down, and this time he took one way out of the zone at what, 94, 95 miles an hour. Nice evening for Butera.
Tying run at third, Abreu. Lead run at second, Saladino. 2-0 is outside, so 3 balls, no strikes. Tim Anderson on deck.
This is not the game plan for Mauer. He doesn't want to walk Castillo to get to one of the hottest hitters on this ball club, Tim Anderson. So Anderson with a base hit, 1 for 3. Waiting to see the resolution of this at bat.
Wellington unloads to right field. Jay can't get there. The Sox are going to take the lead. A 3-0 green light shines in Kansas City, and it's 4-3 Sox.
Ricky breaks out the 3-0 offense, something we've been looking for. Ricky decides that this is the time. You're going to get a pitcher not wanting to get to Anderson. He lays one right down the middle, and Wellington, with his first 2 driven in on his first hit, couldn't have come at a better time. He just crushes this high fastball away, taking it well over the head of Jay. Sox, for the first time tonight, have the lead, and you know, you credit the offense with coming back. Credit Lucas Giolito with keeping it close enough for the offense to come back. No chance for Jay. Ball stays in the ballpark, which is what you're looking for, and 2 in, 1 in scoring position with Tim Anderson ready.
This team is a constant reminder that baseball lasts 27 outs. Constant.
And you said it earlier that Ricky's team will give you, if nothing else, they're going to give you 27 big outs.
Anderson to right field. Now Jay has to come in, and he is there, but the Sox have stormed back in Kansas City once again. Castillo's loving it for his new team. 4-3.
...2017 last year, 26 home runs, 2nd RBI, 5th slugging percentage, 4th. Very good year, but it's going to pale in comparison to what he puts up this year. And we got a new pitcher on the mound, and it is Nate Jones. Nate comes in to help protect the lead. In 11 games last season, an injury-filled year, rehabbing, came back. 1-0 ERA 2.31. He's entirely healthy. He showed it in the spring. Hitters were having all kinds of problems with him in the spring. Hopefully he carries it forward out of Arizona here to Kansas City with the Sox for the first time tonight in the lead.
How about that?
It's an exciting team. I know, look, I know that everybody feels that this team has no chance to eventually beat Cleveland, but you start having some early season success. You start coming back in games now. You finish it off by nailing it down. It'll be a great night.
There's a lot of discussion, and that was quite the lackadaisical swing caused by Nate on Mike Moustakas. There's been a lot of discussion in baseball about using your bullpen to have the best guy get the toughest 3 outs. This is one of those situations with 3, 4, 5 coming up. You don't read too much into Nate Jones being the 8th inning guy necessarily, because it is Moustakas, Duda, and Cuthbert, 3 of the biggest hitters in this lineup.
He's really not the 8th inning guy.
Right.
He's the guy to get the toughest outs, and you said it. I mean, this could be the key inning of the game because, look, there's 2 ways to get a hitter out. One is stuff, the other is deception.
Popped up left side and foul.
So if you have both stuff and deception, as Nate does, you're a terrific pitcher. If he holds up and gets that slider over the plate, as you look at Lurie in left field, he's come on for Nikki Delmonico. But with Nate Jones, who can be overwhelming with both stuff and deception, he's very effective. Like every pitcher, if he throws strikes. Nate has thrown strikes all spring.
Swing and a miss for strike 3, so he went away from the hot fastball and he strikes out Moustakas.
He went to the slider and Castillo wanted it low and in, but because of the movement, a slider even up and out over the plate is effective. Moustakas, who saw the slider spin, was looking down and in when he saw the ball with the slider spin. It stayed up very effectively.
Well, we talked about the podcast that's coming up with Matt Davidson. Maybe if Nate gets these outs, he'll be the very first guest on the podcast.
It'd be a pretty big inning.
Big spot.
Yes, it is.
And let me clarify before we go away from Matt Davidson. I was joking about his hair having frosted tips. That's actually his real hair. That's part of the topic of conversation on the podcast. So you know.
Glad.
Yeah.
Glad I do.
Very important.
I look forward to it, actually. Where can I see it?
On your olfactory sense.
So
it'll be posting next week.
Oh, okay.
Beginning of next week. There have been some questions on Twitter about Matt's hair, so I wanted to dispel that. Yeah, it's real. And it's spectacular. 1-1 on Duda. 5 outs to get for the Sox. This is the 4-hitter for the Royals, and he takes outside off speed.
You know, I was waiting for the first Seinfeld reference, and you snuck it in here in the 8th.
Well, you got to do it in a Giolito start, considering his family was in Seinfeld.
Sox bullpen quiet.
2-1. Swing and a miss.
Might be the time that you see the very rare these days 6-inning save for Nate Jones. If he gets through this inning with no problems whatsoever, I'm pretty sure Ricky sends him out there again, even though it's the early season. So let's see what Don Cooper and Rick Renteria have in mind, again with the assumption that Nate's going to get through this inning, and he's going to get through it with a minimum of pitches.
You watch the swings by the 2 batters already?
Very uncomfortable. They're not seeing the ball, and the stuff is overwhelming. So the deception gets you halfway, the stuff puts you away, and that's why Nate is so effective.
That is a pipe shot, strike 3, 2 down.
They're not seeing it at all. I mean, they're not reacting to pitches well. They're either swinging at the invisible ball or taking pitches that they couldn't pick up. 2 up, 2 strikeouts, and Cuthbert ready to go. Good movement on that one. Just absolutely freezes Duda.
So Nate Jones, we know when he's healthy what the stuff looks like. This is explosive stuff out of spring training.
Just overwhelming, and now you'd like to end it with Cuthbert because then you leave Orlando there to lead it off. You want Orlando to lead it off, not Gordon in the 7th spot. You don't want that righty-lefty matchup. So this becomes a big out. Getting Cuthbert here, ending the inning, and finishing it up with the bottom 3 if you get out Orlando, and that's what you want to see him do, lead off next inning.
In the air to right, and Avi's not going to get to this one down the line. Cuthbert had to slam on the brakes. He was thinking 2 and then thought better of it, so it's a 2-out single, and you do have to get Orlando in the 8th.
Well, Avi got to a ball that was slicing away from him and skidding somewhat, and Cuthbert thinking of 2. Good inside out swing down the line. He's thinking about a double. Avi got to it quickly, and glad he did because this ball was moving away. Cuthbert has to slide to put on the brakes. If this gets by at all, it's probably a triple, and then he puts on the brakes and gets back. Got to watch the bunt. You still have to watch the bunt from Orlando because Gordon's in the on deck circle, and Orlando would love to keep it alive.
A lot of run on that fastball right now for Nate Jones. Cuthbert at first, the tying run. The Sox with a 3-run 8th inning to take the lead, 4-3. Yeah, 97.
A little tardy on that fastball. Tim Anderson back on the grass at shortstop. He wants all the range he can get. And knowing there's a force at second, you don't have to worry about cutting down Orlando at first because he's got big speed.
Very close. Very close. 2-1. If you're plotting out all the pitches to the corner tonight, some of those are strikes, some aren't.
I think all in out, you know, a good night for Dan Iasonia, and I think he did a nice job. I think he called a good game, at least to this point.
2-1. Foul of third. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Sox in the top of the 9th will have Sanchez, Engel, and Moncada.
And Tim is talking with Yolmer at third base because you don't want to stray too far from the bag here. Look, you can live with a single. You can't live with a double because on a double, Cuthbert is going to score the tying run. So Yolmer now very close to the line at third base. Again, you want to limit the range to your right. He does it right there. Tough to get the ball between Yolmer and the bag and keep it fair.
We heard Rick Hahn yesterday, before Thursday, I should say, before the opener, talk about the budding leadership of Tim Anderson and how much he's come out of his shell in terms of being one of the drum majors in this clubhouse.
Well, you want your catcher to be a leader. You want your shortstop to be a leader. And in the outfield, you want your center fielder to take over because he handles everything.
Nice pick back there by Castillo.
Well, Nate went down. The off balance pulled that ball well wide of the plate. And Wellington made a terrific play. If he doesn't catch this one, it goes back to the screen, and possibly Cuthbert goes to third. Great stop by Castillo. Could turn out to be a game winner, assuming that all things end as they are now.
Yeah, if Cuthbert ends up at second, base hit gets you a run.
Might end up at third, depending on the carom. Sometimes carom's away. You never know.
3-2. In the air, right side. Avi at the line. There's out number 3, and we will go to the 9th. Sox trying to get to 2-0 and one more chance at bat, up 1.
Inning. Moncada makes it 3-2. Exit velocity 112.8 miles an hour. Any doubt of his power? Put away there. And then Wellington Castillo 3-0. Ricky breaks out the 3-0 offense over the head of Jay, scores a tying and the winning runs. And you can visit your local Ford store or buyFordNow.com. Head to the ninth.
So they'll spin Sanchez around and go left versus right. Tim Hill is on for his second straight appearance. He threw Thursday and just threw a third of an inning. He hit Larry Garcia and ended up giving up a run when Garcia came around to score.
Submarining left-hander, you don't see many of those. And the problem is lefty righty, unless you're sinking it away from the righties, you get it up and righties see it all the way and drill it to the right side.
You could tell based on the reaction of Sanchez, but also Garcia when he got hit on Thursday, that is no fun to look at.
No, completely different angle than just about every pitcher in this league. And so when you're seeing the ball come from a different spot, it becomes difficult. Again, he doesn't have great stuff, but he does have great deception. And that's going to get him a long way in this game, assuming he keeps it in the zone. That was a very good pitch. He did keep it down, and he mesmerized Yomer.
He is an Okie from Muskogee. He went to an NAIA school in Muskogee, Oklahoma called Bacone College. Tim Hill.
A small but spunky school.
I hate spunk.
Ooh, an Ed Asner reference. Way to go. Boy, you went back a long way in the memory banks for that one. That, of course, folks, a scripted ad lib that Jason and I work out before each and every game. I was wondering when you were going to get that one in.
0-2 is lashed to third, and Moustakas absolutely ripped a hit away from Engel, who hit just a magnum to third base.
Adam is just hitting the baseball on the screws more times than not. This is a great play by Moustakas. A line drive. It's a double if it gets down into the corner. It does not, because the Moose apparently is on the loose. Good play by Moustakas, saved a two-base hit and some problems for Hill.
Man, that was a dagger from Adam Engel's bat.
Bidding for his second hit of the night.
You'll want a chopper. Moustakas has to come in this time, and he throws a grenade. Nice pick. Lucas Duda, my word. 4-3. Sox trying to put it away. Bottom 9. Sox fans, StubHub is your ticket to once-in-a-lifetime experiences, from Chicago White Sox games to amazing concerts and shows you don't want to miss. StubHub, your ticket out. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago White Sox. 3 outs to get, Stoney.
Joakim Soria comes in the ball game. He labored here for 5 years, had 42 and 43 saves in his zenith with the Royals. There you look at the numbers last year. Pretty good ERA. Coming on to close it down as you take a look at last year in a save situation, not good. It's another year with another club in another park. Let's see if Joakim Soria can get it done.
He has converted 77 saves in this ballpark, 220 appearances at Kauffman Stadium, a career ERA here of 2.63. He's always been very comfortable in this ballpark, usually his home park, now on the road. And he's missed with 2 in a row to his former teammate Gordon. Sox took the lead with 3 in the 8th.
Normally Soria has very good control. That's really been his trademark. Changing speeds, mixing pitches. Used to have overwhelming stuff. Now it's not overwhelming, but he's trying to get him with craft and guile. 6'3", 200 pounds.
33-year-old gets Gordon to climb the ladder, 2-1.
Gordon helping us out. Only in that was ball 3. Instead, it's 2-1.
Broken bat got the job done. Gordon with a firewood single, and the Royals have the tying run on.
Not hit hard, but hit in a perfect spot. Playing Gordon as a dead pull hitter. He does indeed hit the ball to the right side, but not in the hole. Takes it up the middle off the end of the bat, getting the job done. Closest one to it, Trip Gibson. He's not going to make that play, and Gordon at first representing the tying run.
So it's up to Alcides Escobar with a career on base percentage under 300 coming into this season. And Soria a lob to first. You wouldn't think about bunting Escobar here, would you, with the 9 spot coming up?
I wouldn't. I'm not sure what Ned Yost did, but you can use a hit and run with him because more times than not he will hit the ball to the right side. I mean, that's been his trademark throughout his career. Gordon has some speed, certainly. He's not a burner, but he's a smart base runner.
There's the bunt, and it's right in front of the plate. Throw to second is on time to first. Safe the call.
Great play by Castillo. Off balance throw. Credit Tim Anderson with staying right there, knowing that he was going to probably get some contact. Now the question is, was it foul or not? That is the question. And the answer is apparently it's a fair ball. Not a real good bunt. Did it hit the bat twice, you
I thought
ask?
live he might have hit it twice, Steve.
Could very well be, but we'll see if there's any appeal from the dugout. And I think maybe they looked at Wellington and said, did he hit it twice? Look at it again. Take a look. Once. He does not get hit by 3 different objects. Not his bat, not his chest, not his foot. The ball's live, but he does not make a good enough bunt. So runner at first with a little speed, and now only 1 out.
So not only does Wellington Castillo have right now what would be the game-winning hit, but that is a very savvy play to get the out at second base.
Well, he just knew that he had to go and charge right through Escobar to get to the ball, get it quickly, and make the off-balance throw.
Ryan Goins pinch hits, the former Toronto Blue Jay, who they love defensively here. He is on for Butera. So the lone lefty on the bench for Ned Yost. Goins with Jay, another left-hander coming up. Unless, of course, the Sox get a double play ball.
Goins faced Soria once. He's 1 for 1.
He's down 2 strikes right now.
The only guy on this team that's seen anything of Soria was John Jay. He's seen him 3 times. He's 1 for 3. Perez not active. If you haven't heard, he's out from 4 to 6 weeks with a knee problem. Injured himself. Perez has seen him 2 times. Doesn't matter. He's going to see him again from his house.
Which is a dangerous place for him. That's where he hurt his knee, carrying luggage. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 gone in the 9th.
It always feels great to do it against the team that you started with, or do it against the team that you played for, or do it against a team you just don't like. And 1 out away from nailing down his first save in a White Sox uniform.
Two down, John Jay. Escobar at first. Jay 2 for 4. And a breaking ball for a strike. It does get away from Castillo, and Escobar to second.
It was a curveball, and perhaps Wellington didn't realize the sharp break or hasn't seen a lot of Soria. You know, he caught him a lot in spring training, but he's most unhappy with himself. Good hook. He just doesn't catch it.
You hope that doesn't come back to hurt the Sox. And now Castillo is going to go out to talk to Soria.
Well, they're talking about a couple different things. Number one, it's a lefty righty matchup with Jay. Jay has swung the bat well tonight. He's 2 for 4. He has seen Soria the most of anybody on this team, but it's only been 3 times. And you're saying with first base open, you pitch carefully to him, but it is 0-1. You want to get him out of the strike zone. If he wants to expand his zone, you allow him to do that. You just don't want to throw him a real hittable pitch, because you do have first base open. He is a veteran. He is a good hitter. 296 last year. A couple hits tonight.
Just inside 1-1 for his career. Soria's splits are remarkably similar versus left and versus right.
Which shows you that, number one, he's got pretty good stuff. You look at his history, he's got good stuff, but also he has very good off-speed stuff.
1-1. And a breaking ball this time blocked by Castillo. Be nice to secure this game after everything that happened in this stadium 2 years ago.
That a good play, and overwhelmingly Wellington has had a great night. Tough play on the last play, the one that went to the bricks. However, Soria now being very careful with Jay. You don't have to tell him how good a hitter John Jay is, especially when you just need contact and a base hit. You're not looking for the long ball. He's very effective.
2 balls and a strike on Jay from Soria. Inside, 3-1.
And you notice after the ball got away, he has not come close to the strike zone, inviting Jay if he wants to get himself out, but not giving him anything too good to hit. Whit Merrifield, a fine hitter in the on-deck circle. He's been on twice tonight, but he has not had the benefit of a base hit. 0 for 2, was hit and walked.
If you believe in the clutch gene, Whit Merrifield has it. 3-1. Jay takes ball 4. Winning run is on for Kansas City here in the 9th.
Very much a veteran move by a veteran pitcher who's had overwhelming success as a closer. So Don Cooper coming out to the mound. Everybody on the mound. They're going to go over for Soria, who doesn't have the benefit of facing Merrifield 3 or 4 times. They're going to go over the scouting report they went over before the game, just in case.
Well, each of these competitors, Merrifield and Soria, have the luxury of seeing each other play for days on end. Former teammates, they're used to each other, but it's got to be a little different when you're standing 60 feet 6 inches away.
Well, Merrifield has never seen Soria from 60 feet 6 inches. I mean, he might have seen him in spring training or some such way, but he's never been in the batter's box with Soria on the mound. Usually that's to the advantage of the pitcher. Outfield playing him as an opposite field hitter, not overly deep, yet he does have power. One thing you don't want here is you want to play deep enough so they can't split the gap for the double. You certainly do not want to see Moustakas until tomorrow's game or the next time we see Kansas City.
Merrifield a fly out to right, a ground ball to short. He scored a run in the first inning after being hit. High fly ball, center field. Adam Engel is there. The Sox win. Second straight comeback. This one in the 8th inning. 4-3 your final score.
What a ball game. 2-0 Sox lead the division. And a fine job by the pitching staff, the defense, a comeback effort by the offense. It was thrilling.
The joy factory that is the 2018 White Sox, 2 games in, continues to churn out product. 4-3 Sox.